Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 183. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we will talk about the massive shakeup at Xbox, PlayStation State of Play, Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen, Spider-Noir, and more. But as usual, we will begin with our recent activities within the world of gaming. I will go first. So I finished up Resident Evil 4 Remake. I did a whole video on this. If you want to check that out, it's available on my YouTube channel. But pretty much, yeah, I mean, it's very good. Very unsurprisingly, yes, this is a very good remake of the original Resident Evil 4 from the ground up for the new generation of fans. Tank controls are gone. The narrative is not very different, but they make a lot of changes that make it more narratively sound. Like, it actually makes sense this time around, because right. I think the original, it was kind of just like, stuff's happening, you know, you're saving Ashley, you're trying to exterminate the Las Plagas virus and all of this other stuff, but it never really came together. But here, one of the biggest things that I like is that Sadler, he's not like a big bad that like comes in and like wrecks Leon's day and then exits. That happens a lot within the original. Here, he's much more like in the shadows. He's letting his own henchmen do their thing, and you know, he's ordering them around a lot more, which I like. And you don't really even see him face to face with Leon until like 14 hours in, and I was like, okay, yeah, like this makes a lot more sense. Even with the character like Louise, like, you know, I think within the original, he kind of just popped in whenever. And he was kind of, you know, like a misogynistic asshole also. But this one, they make him a lot more likable. And right before he dies to Krauser, which is another change that I really like, is that they are able to get Lewis out of the story and then introduce Krauser within the same sort of cutscene. And I really like that. It makes the story flow a lot better. Obviously, the gameplay is great, fantastic. You know, it's the same Resident Evil remake stuff that you've seen from the other games. This one's definitely a lot more action-oriented. I was running out of supplies very fast towards the end because I was just like, holy shit, they're throwing a lot of things at me. But crafting ammo is like a big thing that you could do now. The knife is very, very useful. You could parry, you could do stealth attacks, you could do a lot more with it. But with that comes that it is breakable. It is no longer just like a invincible knife that you could just use to break boxes, stab enemies on the ground, whatever. So it's definitely a upgrade in my opinion, but I think some people might still miss the, you know, classical, you shoot them to the ground, you run up to them and then just knife them repeatedly. So either way, no matter what version of Resident Evil 4 you play, both of them are great. We are just around the corner for Resident Evil Requiem, and I'm very, very excited for it. Damian, you got any words about Resident Evil 4?
Yeah. So you basically like touch on the things that I think are great. Like, you know, I think they improved the story quite a bit. Also just love what he did with Ashley's character. Again, I only have like 7 hours in the original RE4. I do want to play the rest of it at some point. But I got up to the castle, then stopped. But, you know, Ashley in the original game is very, like, you know, damsel in distress. Like, Leon, you know, that's basically all she does. I am glad they gave her a lot more character in this remake, and they just made her just more likable in general. I think that helps her a lot. Like, it makes her, like, not as annoying, I guess, to, like, take care of in this game. Like, I really do like her and Leon's, like, relationship throughout this, like, adventure. And same with all the other story elements. Like, it's still cheesy enough, like, where it doesn't feel like it's too serious, but still takes itself a bit more serious, so the story makes more sense than it did in the original game, which is nice. You know, I don't need Resident Evil plots to be like Shakespeare or anything. Like, it's fine, but it's nice to make it a bit more coherent, right? Like, you know, it's not like I'm gonna be stressing too much of the story is bad, but it's nice that the characters feel a bit more likable and believable, I guess. And Leon is still Leon, you know, he's still like cracking one-liners, you know, that's his thing, right?
That's his thing.
That's what Leon does, right? But yeah, the gameplay, I think everything is just super fun to play through, you know, just this more combat-oriented Resident Evil, you know, going from like 2 and 7 to this game is a bit jarring, but once you get used to like just, you know, kicking zombies, collecting the loot, selling it, getting new upgrades, it's very fun and addicting. And when I talk about RE8, it kind of has that same gameplay loop, which is really fun. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to RE9 at this point, so I could play as my man Leon again, you know, and it'll be a good time. So, but yeah, it's a great remake. You know, you really can't go wrong if you pick this or the original game. Like, you really should just play both at this point. Like, they're still both great games. But yeah, either way, you're gonna have a good time with it.
Yeah, Ashley is definitely a lot more tolerable this time around, not just story-wise, but also within the gameplay. You know, she is a little difficult to handle because she has her own health bar and she is very fragile in combat compared to this new version of Ashley where she'll just get into different statuses. If she gets knocked down or whatever, you could just pick her back up. She doesn't have like an actual health bar that you need to manage, which is nice. And also her sequence where you get to play as her is just as scary as the original, if not more so, because they throw so much more shit at you. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 Remake is very good. Okay, so my next game is a secret game. Damian doesn't even know that this is on here. So I have been playing Fallout New Vegas.
That's on PS3 is crazy.
Yes, I'm playing it on the PlayStation 3 because I want to record it and I want to have it on a system, a console of my choice, because you know, recording on PC is a little tricky for me because I think when I use OBS or even when I do like the capture card back to my PC, it looks a little funky. So just to like make sure that like the capture footage is like very, very crisp and good, playing it on console. Also, this is the Ultimate Edition, so it comes with like all the fucking DLC. So when I first booted up the game, it's like 20 different pop-ups showed up with like items and missions. I was like, what the fuck is all this? But
don't do any of those till like the end.
Yes, exactly. My girlfriend has been helping me because she is a massive Fallout fan. So I'm like 5 or 6 hours in, and I want to say for like half of it, she's been like telling me where to go and like sort of like what to expect here, do this, do that. So, you know, it is nice to play a game with her within that capacity again, because the last time we did that was with the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. So yeah, I mean, I have never played a Bethesda RPG or any Fallout game whatsoever. I think we tried Fallout 4 multiplayer with her, and I was just like, I'm not really into this. I don't know.
I think Fallout 76 probably, because I think that's the multiplayer one. Yeah,
one or the other. One of the Fallout games on PC. I was trying to play multiplayer with her, and I was just like, I don't like this shit. But you know, after I've watched both seasons of the show, I might as well try out Fallout New Vegas, and she said that this is like a pretty good starting point. And I've heard a lot of great things about this over the years. Even when it first came out, people were like, holy shit, this game's like fucking amazing. I was like, all right, cool. Good job, guys. I'm not a big Fallout fan, not a big RPG guy, but like I said, 5 or 6 hours in, I'm still very, very early on. I like just like walking around and just talking to people, figuring out their life, their world. You know, I think I finished the first town. Now I moved on to the next stuff, which is you have to like figure out like, do I want the NCR or this other guy to like take over this town? I forget the name of it exactly. I was literally just fucking playing it. It's because now my girlfriend, she wanted me to go and find this companion Boone, and that is
Boone,
like
my man Boone.
Yes, she wanted me to go and find Boone. So now I went from like the bottom of the map all the way back up, but I had to go around this massive fucking mountain, bro. And there's like a shortcut in the middle, and then I walk up to it. There's a dead body there. I was like, oh, okay, like that's weird. Let me just like loot everything. And then a fucking blind death claw appears, and then I die, and I was like, shit. So then I was trying to like get past him for like, I want to say like 10, 15 minutes. I kept dying because I was like, I can't bait him around to like where I am, like up on like this cliff. He doesn't fucking move around. So then I'm like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to go all the way around this mountain. So now I'm trying to figure out who killed Boone's wife. So that's where I am within like the story, if you will. There's like so much like side missions and like side content that I'm doing right now that, you know, I probably could just skip over and just get to like the main story stuff. But, you know, this is the beauty about RPGs, and like I think Fallout in particular is just like getting to talk to these people, get into the world, make your own decisions and your own perks and statuses and all of this other stuff. It's a lot of fun. I really like the combat and the shooting because it's so fucking goofy. It is honestly so dumb when I go into like this sort of like slow-mo thing. Yes, VATS. When I go into VATS and then I'm like, all right, do I want to shoot the leg? Do I want to shoot the chest? And then like they fucking like Fenty fold over it, like doing 360 flips when I shoot them. I made my character Asian, but he looks so fucking ridiculous. He has like a mustache and it's like one of the straight up like presets because you know me, I'm not like a big like custom character guy. So I was just like, all right, which one of these presets should we go for it? And she was like, go with that one because that shit's funny. So yeah, every time it like goes onto my character, it is just so funny and hilarious. And then also the physics. And obviously this is a Bethesda game as well. There's glitches, there's bugs everywhere. Yeah. The game only crashed on me once so far, which I was not which I was not prepared, but I only played for like 20 minutes before it crashed. So all I had to do was just reset my PS3 and then just get back into it. But Yeah, so far so good. I'll definitely have more to talk about next time because, like I said, I'm still very early within the beginning, but so far so good. This is gonna be my next big game after I get through Resident Evil Requiem, Scott Pilgrim EX, and then maybe this will happen in between. I have no idea.
There's a lot of games, yeah.
Yes, so I'm getting through this now, and then if I don't get it done after Scott Pilgrim, after Life is Strange. So.
And dude, I forgot about Life is Strange. God damn. Well, I could tell you, it took me. So, just for context, I beated New Vegas like 10 years ago because I'm looking at my Steam. It was 2016, which is crazy.
Jesus.
And I did all the DLCs, and I don't think I did like every side quest available, but I did a lot of it. And I had 73 hours in the game. So, it's a very long game if you're doing all of that.
Yeah.
All of New Vegas is extremely good, right? Like, with Fallout 3, I say if you just beeline the main quest, I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice because I do feel like the main quest in Fallout 3 and 4 are probably like the weakest parts of the game, and all the side stuff is like the real good stuff. With New Vegas, I think all of it's like really strong. Like I think the main story quests is really good. The side stuff is also great. The DLCs are really good, especially Old World Blues. That's a really good DLC. Just the whole game in general is just like made with so much love. And just like the story itself is great. I mean, you saw some of it in the Fallout TV show. You just get to spend all that time, with the NCR, with the Legion, and with Mr. House, and see what all that's about. And it's just great. Like the way they really shaped the Mojave to be like this whole like battleground between those two and Mr. House is just great. And all the side stuff, like there's so much stuff in there that I just remember that's just like funny and stupid, and I just love it. Right, the game is just so wacky. I really do hope they remaster it. Like that's like the rumor right now is that 3 and New Vegas are gonna get remastered, and I really hope so because these games are great, but they are very buggy. I know that's every Bethesda game, but man, like New Vegas, and like there was a part in New Vegas where like this is like a strip of the desert that would just crash my game every single time. So I had to like physically go around it every single time I did that. It's a very buggy game, but it is one of like the best like Western RPGs I've ever played. It's really good. I say if you like this game, I probably would say you should give Cyberpunk a try as well. Like I think they fixed Cyberpunk so much. I haven't even played all the improvements because I played that game in 2020 when it was like bad, but I still like Cyberpunk a lot. Now it's a really good game. So I do like if you do like New Vegas, I'll say you should probably play Cyberpunk at some point in your life too because I do think it's a good game as well. And I don't think it's as long because Cyberpunk, I did basically do everything, and I had like 70 hours, but you could definitely cut that by like a lot if you're just like doing the important stuff. But yeah, New Vegas is a fantastic game. So yeah.
Yeah, and I am noticing the old jank very much. There's no run button. I'm like fucking walking around all the goddamn time, but the music's hitting. The music is great. Dude,
the radio, let's go.
Yeah, the radio. I think I started with the New Vegas radio, and then Emma was like, switch it up now. I was like, all right. So, I'm just walking around these big open wastelands. Sometimes I'll get shot out by like random ass people, or some scorpions will pop up out of nowhere. So, that's just like the beauty of like, I guess, Western RPGs and, RPGs in general. It's just like, you never know what's going to happen next. So just going around this world has been so much fun, and I cannot wait to play more, even though like I am recording like an hour of footage and like I didn't really do anything technically, but I'm still having a lot of fun exploring and figuring out like what's really going on within Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah. It's the best part about these games. I think that's why Starfield hit the mark so much because when I did my replay through, or I actually gave Fallout 4 a chance and actually really liked it, that was like after I played Starfield. And the thing Starfield was missing that all these other Bethesda games have is just exploring and, like you said, just seeing these things happen, like just random ass shit, like scorpions attacking you or some NPCs talking to you. Starfield didn't have any of that shit. It was just like so like barren. Like, oh, you have all these planets, but they're all empty as shit and like nothing fucking happens. So like, I don't even hate Starfield as much as other people. Like I thought it was like fine, but yeah compared to like the other games, like that Bethesda jank and magic is like just going around and just getting bombarded by random shit because it's just funny. So yeah.
Yes. And the last game that I've been playing is Overwatch. Now officially back to Overwatch 1. There was a massive update that they did. They did like a presentation thing where they were like, all right, guys, Marvel Rivals lit a fire under our butts. So this is what we've been doing. They dropped 5 new heroes with this new update. They took out the 2, so now it's back to Overwatch 1, And yeah, that's about it. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of other things that they've done, like the Hello Kitty skins, all this other stuff. So
yeah.
This update's been out for a bit, and I've been playing it because my girlfriend loves Overwatch. So, my relationship with Overwatch as a game is just very hit or miss. It's very much like a love-hate relationship, but maybe a little bit more hate. Just because
more hate, yeah.
Like I've played so many other multiplayer games like League of Legends, Valorant, etc. And something about this one, I'm just like, dude, the players are just so stupid. Like they are just so brain dead when it comes to like playing their roles. And because like you are stuck to the role that you're playing, it makes it even more frustrating when someone's like shitting the bed on like that role, right? Because you can't swap them off of it. You could tell them to switch to another hero, especially if it's like DPS, because I'm always playing tank. I always play tank because it's one thing to have like a shitty like DPS or a shitty healer. That's like, all right, the other guy just has to like play like twice as better or if not 3 times better, right? With the tank, it's like, dude, you're the only fucking tank. If you're running it down, you're running it down. And then like the rest of the team just suffers. So I've been playing tank for like ever. What I could say about this update is that like the first like few days, it was like, oh shit, like is Overwatch back? Like this shit feels great. It's amazing. The new tank Domina, I've been loving her. She gets banned like every other game, but when she is open, she is very, very strong. She can straight up just like kill people, like half HP supports with like her just straight up auto attack. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? But now that it's been out for a bit, I mean, it's fucking Overwatch at this point. Like if you wanted to try out the new update, go for it. I think it is definitely something that you will have fun with, maybe for like the first few hours, but you might go back to whatever else you were playing before, maybe even Marvel Rivals. Because I think the thing that Overwatch will always have above Rivals, and Damian will also agree with this, is that like Overwatch is very polished. Like Blizzard knows how to make like a very polished video game, and they've done that very well with Overwatch. And Marvel Rivals, Marvel Rivals still has like that Rivals kind of jank where like certain things just don't work properly or necessarily interact like the way that you might expect. And I think Marvel Rivals also just has so much other shit going on. There's like 20 flying characters in that game. There's like people diving in and shit. I mean, like Overwatch has that. There's more diving characters. There's more stuff going on with the new heroes. But I think that this game is a little bit more consistent with like what to expect kind of thing. But I mean, it's Overwatch. I think if you wanted to jump back in with this new update, I think that this is a great time to do it. I know people gave them a lot of shit because it was like, well, what the fuck was the point of Overwatch 2? That's my fucking point. That's why I don't want to play this fucking game. Because it's like Blizzard really did just like, we're going to make Overwatch 2. We're going to do all this single player stuff, yada, yada, yada. And now after all of these years, they've kind of backtracked on all of that stuff. And they've just been, back to not necessarily square one, but, just back to where they were before and just making the same product as before.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably for the best at this point. And I do think they've recycled. And look, trust me, I am just as mad as everyone else about the cancellation basically of Overwatch 2 and like them not doing the single player like co-op stuff. Like that's really lame to me still. And I was very salty about it for a while. But just seeing them recycle that content with the stadium game mode, being able to use different abilities and skills for that game mode and them working it into the PvP framework, I think that's fine. Like I think they did a good enough job like salvaging what they could from that failed hero shooter, like or the PvE side of the game to the PvP side of the game. I think that's fine at this point. And I think dropping the 2, like at this point, just call it Overwatch. It's whatever. I think that's fine. And honestly, this is probably a bigger patch than the Overwatch 2 patch to begin with, because all the Overwatch 2 patch really did was some maps were at night now. We got 3 new heroes and they got the battle pass, and that was it. This patch already had more than that than the Overwatch 2 patch, which is like kind of crazy when you think about that. And I know there was like a engine update or whatever, but whatever. Like, yeah, it wasn't like Overwatch 2 launched with like not much. While this game, with Stadium and now with this patch, like there's just like so much in this game now. Like I do think Overwatch has been evolving at a pretty nice rate. And you really gotta thank Marvel Rivals for that. Marvel Rivals really pushed them to actually like, oh fuck, we're not like the default hero shooter anymore. We gotta actually like try, right?
Yes.
And like you said, and you very read my mind. Like I do think I like playing Overwatch more than Rivals, just in terms of like pure gunplay, just because I think it just feels better to play. And also, what I appreciate is when I open the hero fucking tab, I'm not like bombarded with like a whole novel how to play the fucking character. Jesus Christ, dude! Rivals is so bad with that now. I'm like not gonna read this, bro. Like that's like way too much text. Like more Rivals is like this character shoots a laser, you shoot like a little projectile. I'm like, all right, cool. Great, that's all I really need to know.
Yeah.
And the characters themselves are fun. Like Damian, like you were saying, like she's like very strong. She's kind of tanks I like to play in general, being like very shieldy, very defensive. I like that, but she can still like fucking kill you. Also like the other healer guy, he's kind of fun. The Asian dude who like he like
with the hat. He's green, right?
With the with the hat. Yeah, he's pretty fun. And then some of the other heroes, like like the new FireRed lady, she's cool. I'm bad at flankers, so I'm not playing as her.
Yeah.
The new soldier guy, very basic yes. boy, but he does get the job done. So, and the jetpack cat, I heard, just keeps getting banned every game, so can't play it as jetpack cat, but whatever.
He is There was a point where I was like, I don't even think he's that broken. Yes, you could like toss one person off the map, or like you could pick up your teammate and like do all of this other like crazy clip farming shit. It was up until there was a point where we were pushing to like get like the comeback win, and then a fucking Cassidy, my bad. A fucking Cassidy came around with the cat, high noon, and they just killed everyone because they were flanking with the cat. And I was like, yeah, nah, fucking ban this cat. I don't know what it is. I don't know why every single multiplayer game it needs to have a fucking cat, and they're the most broken, annoying piece of shit ever. But Overwatch is now new on that list. Before it was fucking League of Legends with me, I hated Yumi. I fucking hated Yumi. I hated that character, whether I had to play it or play against it. That character will always be the bane of my existence, and I'm so glad that they nerfed the shit out of it. Will they do that for Jetpack Cat? I mean, I think that they are already nerfing him.
Coming for it, yeah. So.
Yeah, they're already nerfing him a little bit. But it's just so funny that like the cat just meows, like that's it. Like it's literally just like I am Groot, but just cat. Yes, like just meowing all the fucking time, and I'm like, all right, this is what we're done.
But yeah, it was a pretty cool update. I guess they also added like more lore stuff, so there's like a story page and some other stuff. So you could get your story about them doing the whole mission stuff, and I think that's a good middle ground. So overall, I think Overwatch is in a pretty good state right now, and I think compared to Rivals, like you always gonna need that competition. It's always gonna push these games to be better. So I'm happy Overwatch has taken such a big swing, and we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, I enjoyed a little bit. I played of it. I want to play more, but there's a lot of other games that are taking my time at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, see, this is a fine example of competition is good, and if it wasn't for our Marvel rivals, we would probably still live in Overwatch 2 hell, where it is literally just the same game, but because another hero shooter came along, and it has such a massive IP like Marvel attached to it, and they are constantly updating it, stealing players from them, Blizzard was like, all right, shit, this is like our like kind of like moneymaker at this point, right? The people that are playing Overwatch, they are keeping that company alive. So it's like we gotta like do something to really bring players back, and also make sure that the players that they do have feel like they are being rewarded for playing the game so much. Yeah.
Well, speaking of cats, I could go over what I've been playing. So I've been playing a lot. There's been a lot of new games that have been coming out. Mewgenics is kind of the one I've been playing the most of. So this game fucking blew up. I mean, I knew it was gonna do really well, but it had like, I think it's like the most played roguelike ever now on Steam. I think besides Elden Ring Night Rain, it had like over 100,000 people playing it, more than Hades 2, which is surprising. And if you don't know what Mewgenics is, this is the next game by the Binding of Isaac creator Ed McMillan. He's been working on this game for fucking years at this point. I think it's since like 2013 or something. He like restarted development on it, and then I think he went full-time development on it like 7 years ago or something, 6 years ago. So yeah, it's been a while this game has been in development for. But I think all that has really proven to be like fruitful, because this game is really good. I don't have like as much time to play some stuff, and it's been like, I think 2 weeks since this game came out, and I have like 25 hours in it. So that's just say how fucking addicting it is. And I just keep fucking playing it. So what this game is basically is, I guess like a roguelite Fire Emblem / XCOM type game, right? It's a tactical RPG where your runs consist of going through like this little map. You select your nodes you want to go to. The battles are, in these Fire Emblem type fights. So if you know how Fire Emblem works, that's how this game works. You have like that tile-based combat. Instead of using units like like normal soldiers, you use cats, right? And the way you get more cats is after you do a run, you could bring your cats back to your house and you could breed them so you could make stronger cats, either with stats or you get more mutations. And the sort of tricky thing is you can only use a cat once. Once you use a cat once, you can't use it again. You have to like retire them. So that's kind of where that breeding system comes in, where you like, you don't necessarily you level up your cats in a run, but you don't like keep leveling them up afterward. Like you have to like inherit their like genes or whatever to make them stronger, right? And that makes for a very fun gameplay loop. That's why it kind of feels more like XCOM to me. Like the combat feels more like Fire Emblem, but the whole base management stuff feels like XCOM in between missions, where after a run, you would go back to your base and do all that bullshit where you would breed your cats, buy furniture to make your cats stronger and more happy and, make them breed more, and then go back to your runs to like farm up money to do the same thing, right? Because, this game can get fucking hard. So I think I'm on Act 2, and I think there's 3 acts, but like there's just so much content in this game. Like Act 1 has like a whole secret level I haven't done yet, because you gotta do some side quests where like, you gotta like bring this item to the end of a run, but if any of your cats get down at any point, all your cats fucking die or something. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that yet because I'm not good enough. But the game is just really fun. There's just so many options and choices you could do in a battle. When you bring your cats in, you can choose a class for them. So there's like tank, mage, ranger, a bunch of other classes I don't have access to yet. And every time you do a battle, one cat will level up, and you can sort of like just select a bunch of abilities and whatnot. You can also get different items, just like Isaac, so you could put those items on your cats. And sometimes you got some, pretty boring things like, +1 like strength or whatever. But sometimes you get some really crazy weapons and armor that really changes how your whole strategy is going to play out. And it just makes the combat really fun and addicting to just play through, because you never know what synergies or what broken combos you're going to get with your cats. Like, I think I had one where I had this really useless ability where you just like poop on people and didn't really do anything, but it was really low mana cost. And my mage had an ability where their magic spells would do more damage the more mana your ally spent. So I had this thing where I'm like, I could just keep pooping on this cat for like 10 turns or whatever, and my mage could do like 20,000 damage, and that's basically what I did, and it felt amazing. And there's a bunch of really broken combinations you could do with that makes each run just very fun to find all these broken things you could do. And the great part is you can actually like back out of runs early if you want. Like if you beat an area, you can return back to your base. Like if your cats are just like too bad to keep going, you don't have to like totally like abandon your run. Like you could like salvage what you could, which is nice. Because I will say like losing runs in this game does kind of suck ass because runs are really long. Like, the average roguelike run for like Isaac or Hades 2 is maybe like an hour, which is fine. This game is probably like 2.5 hours to do a full run. Like it's very long. And, since this game is so focused on meta progression with your cats and the money you get and the items you bring back, it could be really devastating to lose. Like I definitely feel like I get more mad in this game than I did in Isaac, because in Isaac is just like, whatever, just start a new run, it's whatever. In this game, you do feel like you wasted like 2 hours of your life, because I'm like, fuck, I lost all my fucking shit, bro. What the hell? But it does make winning that much more satisfying. Like, it's a hard game, but like you can like get past it. Like, I don't think the game, it has some bullshit moments, don't get me wrong, but it definitely feels like I feel like in control a lot of the time, which is nice. Obviously, when I get to later acts, I know the game definitely increases the difficulty, because I got to Act 2 and I just got my ass wiped immediately. I'm like, okay, I need to grind a bit. So now I'm a little further into Act 2, and I got past like the first level of it, got to the second level of Act 2, then got my ass kicked again. So I'm like, all right, let me grind some more, breed more cats. So it's definitely like a slow game. Like, you definitely are not meant to like speed run this shit. Like, you're not meant to beat this game on your first run. This is meant to be like a fucking 100 hour, 200 hour fucking game, right? Like Edmund, I think, said like this game will take like at least 300, 400 hours to 100% it. So, and he's not lying, because this game has like so much fucking content in it. It's like absolutely insane. So, the game is just super fun, super addicting. I think if you're a fan of things like Fire Emblem or XCOM, I definitely think it is worth a shot. It's a ton of fun. I'm just surprised it's as popular as it is, because, Isaac, it's very easy to sit down and play, because, you just play as the little Isaac boy and you shoot tears at people, right? It's not like too complicated. Yeah. This game definitely has a lot more moving parts in it, with the breeding system, the combat itself just being a lot more demanding as a player, like just like knowing what abilities to pick, what to do at any certain turn, right? It's a bit harder to like sort of navigate that, and you have to read a lot. But yeah, overall Mewgenics is fucking great, and you know, me sinking so much time into it, and the time I have, really should say, like, yeah, this game is fucking great. I'm really looking forward to playing more of it. Also, the music is so fucking good. Like, it's so like catchy. Like, I just can't get it out of my head. Everyone on Twitter has been saying that too, because every time you do, like, you get up to the final boss of an act, it starts playing like a lyrical version of like wherever the song that I was playing previously, and it is like, it's just so fucking catchy. Like, I just can't get it out of my head. I just think about for a week. Like, they're just so earwormy. But yeah, Mewgenics is really good. Definitely expect to see it on like at least like a top 5 for me, maybe a top 3, depending what else comes out this year. So, really good game. I would definitely talk about it more because I'm not even close to beating it. So yeah,
this shit looks crazy, and I mean,
yeah.
It means that, you know, that $30 price tag that he has attached, which I think we are seeing more with like indie games, and with Edmund, people know that like he makes good shit, and this is a game that he's been working on for years and years and years. So, you know, for him to drop a game like this, and I think he made his money back like within the first
like 3 hours.
Yeah. Like, people will go ham for like a very, very good action roguelite, and this one seems to be, you know, just adding layers and layers and layers on top of stuff that like people have not even thought about when, you know, we've seen so much from the genre over the past decade or so, you know. And yeah, you know, it's great to see a game like this, you know, pop off as much as it is.
Yeah, and you know, it's very unique too. You don't really see a lot of these type of roguelites. There's a lot of deck, you know, it has a lot in common with like deck builder roguelites, which I do like as well. Like, we don't really see a lot of like, I guess, like more RPG-esque type roguelites. Like, there's Darkest Dungeon, and Into the Breach was another one that was really like this game, where it was like a tactical RPG type of roguelite. But I think this one just takes so many elements for so many different things to make it into like just a unique beast of itself. And I'm glad like he went super ham on this game, added so much content, because like you said, it's $30, which is a lot for an indie game, but you're definitely getting your money's worth for this game. Like, it's definitely has just like so much content that it's like insane, right? Like, it basically feels like it has like a DLC attached to the game itself, right? So, yeah, you're definitely getting your money's worth. If you want to play a really good roguelike, definitely pick this up. It's extremely good. And once I get further into the game, I definitely will be talking about it again, because it's great. I love it. Alrighty, so now for a bunch of other games. So Romeo is a Dead Man. This is like the other game I've been playing a lot of. So this is by Suda51. If you don't know Suda51, he made No More Heroes. So this is like sort of like his next big game. And, you know, I was always intrigued by this game. I think they showed it in a state of play at some point. I'm like, oh, that's a new Suda51 game. Yeah, I'll pick it up. Why not? And, you know, it's always funny because, you know, one of these games are going to be good when it's like Metascore, like it's like a fucking like 70 or something. It's like, oh yeah. Like No More Heroes 3 is like objectively like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But like to me, that shit was like a 9. It was so fucking fun and stupid, and I loved it. And this game is basically like that as well. You know, it's very balls off the wall. The combat, I mean, it's basically like No More Heroes 4 in terms of like how it plays. Like, it's very similar to No More Heroes 3, like just the way it plays. Like, the combat is almost exactly the same, except there's some differences. Like, there's a bit more RPG mechanics in there. Like, you could level up your character in a bit more of a traditional way. You sort of like have like this persona fusing mechanic that determines like your abilities or whatever. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, the combat itself is very similar to No More Heroes, if you're familiar with that series. But the story itself it's stupid, but it takes itself a bit more seriously than No More Heroes did. Like, it definitely has some more meaningful things it wants to say while still being really silly and like multimedia like nonsense, right? Like, you have like anime cutscenes, you have like comic book type cutscenes, you have the in-game cutscenes as well. The game changes its gameplay system sometimes, where like there's this really cool segment where it goes all like 8-bit for a second, and like it just turns into like a music video for like a minute. I'm like, what is fucking happening? So I love it though. You know, this game is just full of charm. It's full of the things you would expect from Suda51 from like the No More Hero series and some of his other games I haven't played yet. But yeah, it's a lot of really fun, creative just ideas all thrown into like this game. And he knows this game isn't going to be like a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. I think in an interview before the game came out, he's like, we just need more games that just does weird shit. I'm like, you know what? I agree with you. Like, there's a lot of games that are very polished, like technically impressive games, but they don't take a lot of risks because it's like, why would you do that, right? Like, if you are making like a Horizon game, you want the game to be like this AAA, beautiful open world game, right? Like, you don't want like to like scare people off with like weird shit, right?
Yeah.
Suda doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, here's just like a bunch of weird shit that's happening for like no reason. And I'm like, you know what? I applaud you for that because it works. It's not like it's just there to be there. Like, it does have a reason. And with that, it does come with like actual issues with the game. Like, it kind of runs like shit. It doesn't look super great in terms of like visually how it looks. On PS5, the sound quality is like really bad. Like, everything sounds really muffled. I think they patched it, but it still sounds the same to me. So, I guess I didn't really do anything. But after all those technical hiccups, like, it is like a 7 out of 10, but I did just so much cool creative stuff in this game that it really elevates it to me, just like the No More Hero games do as well. So yeah, I would recommend it to someone that does like the No More Heroes games. Like, I think they are very similar to each other, just gameplay wise. But probably wait for a sale if you're like unsure about it, because it is $50. I think there's enough like there to justify it, because I think it's gonna take me like 15 hours to beat it, which is longer than I thought it was gonna be, and I've been having a good time with it. But yeah, it's definitely something, if you're on the fence, probably wait for a sale. But it's cool. I really like it a lot, and I will always support Suda because he makes weird shit, and I do like those weird fucking games, and it's really cool. So, alrighty. So now for some other things. So RE8, I'm almost done with this. I'm up to the factory, Heisenberg's factory. So I believe I'm up to like the last third of the game at this point. And yeah, basically what you said about RE4 is basically how I feel about this game. It's very fun. It's a lot more combat oriented, where you would just shoot a bunch of dudes, get their money, get more upgrades, and you just keep going from there. The only problem I have with this game is sort of like the pacing of it. I actually do think now playing this game, I kind of get why they're doing what they're doing with RE9 with separating Grace and Leon, because this game kind of does the same thing, except you're always Ethan, right? Like, there's a lot of segments in this game where you're going through the dollhouse, and that segment is great, but like, you have no weapons or anything, so you're kind of just like going through it. There's a lot of other set piece moments too, where you just take away your stuff and you just gotta do like a horror segment for a little bit. And that's really different from how some of the other RE games work. Like, RE2, that game is you're always on edge, right? Same thing with RE7. Like, you're always on edge, you're always scarce on ammo. It's not really an action game. Sometimes it changes it up. Like, you are fighting a lot of monsters, but for the most part, you're always gonna be like, on guard. Like, you're always gonna be like, oh shit. With RE4, you're always on the offense, right? Like, always going to be mostly like fighting a bunch of zombies and what have you. And there's some segments where you have to like run away from something, but for the most part, it's always going to be more of an action game. This game kind of does like both of those things, but it feels a bit more jarring when you're like the same guy, because like, why aren't you just shooting them at that point, right? So I think when them splitting it with RE9 actually makes a lot of sense now that I'm playing this game, because it does feel a bit weird to just be stripped of all your stuff just for like one part and just keep going. But besides that, I think all the elements of the game are great. I think it's just like kind of put together a bit weird. But it's still fun to shoot guys. It's fun to do those scary moments. Ethan himself is whatever. He's not like everyone's favorite character. He's just like a guy. But for the most part, I think it works. Getting his daughter back and just like piecing her together like the fucking Exodia or whatever as you go back. But yeah, like, the game still looks beautiful. It plays great. The combat's still like a ton of fun, very RE4 coded. Yeah, it's a good game. I like it a lot. Probably not as strong as 7, just in terms of its theming and just like what it wants to be, but still like super fun. Like, I've been having a great time with this game, just sort of exploring the village, because every time you complete like a major part of the game, you get like some item that you could go back to the other parts of the village and get more loot, do some optional encounters, and it just had like this weird open world sort of Metroidvania quality to it that I like a lot. So RE8's been a ton of fun right now, and I probably will finish it probably tomorrow so I could get ready for RE9. So yeah.
Resident Evil 8 definitely is a bit of more of a mixed bag. I think Resident Evil 7, they really wanted to play it safe, because it was like, if this one doesn't sell, we're fucked. So, when they were making the sequel, I guess they were like, all right, we could do like a little bit more with it. We could try to do certain things that we didn't do within the previous game, which was make it a lot more action oriented. And, I hope that when we do get to Resident Evil Requiem later this week, that, you know, we do see the fruits of their labor over these past other 2 games into 9, that it all really does make sense now that it is split between the 2 characters, and, you know, we get Leon with the more action oriented stuff and then Grace with the more scary, spooky stuff, because, you know, it makes sense for those characters. But like you said, having it all just be Ethan, and it's like, well, all your shit's gone, good luck, now you got it back, go have fun. It's like, yeah, it's definitely like a very mix mash of a game in that regard.
Yeah. Alrighty, last thing, Mario Tennis Fever. So I wasn't going to get this, but I had a lot of cash back on my card. Okay. And I usually like to use that money on just like shit I probably wouldn't buy to begin with. So I had like $60 saved up there. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll spend $10 on Mario Tennis. Why the fuck not? So I did that. I didn't play too much of it yet. I just got it like yesterday. But it's fun. You know, I've been hearing... Like the reviews have been like kind of like, you know, just like a 7s or whatever. But the more I've been reading into it, people have been really enjoying it a lot. And, you know, I like the Mario Tennis games. I like the Aces. I like some of the other games in that series. Like if there's any of the sports games I do like probably the most, is probably tennis and the golf games. Actually, I like Super Rush a lot. No one else did. So I guess I'm alone with that one. But Aces was fun. And I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'll get this one. And, you know, I played a bit of the adventure mode. That kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. That's the one thing other reviewers were saying kind of sucks. Because I'm like an hour and a half into it, and it's just all tutorials. Like, and I heard it doesn't get any better. So I'll probably finish it just to finish it. But the main, like, tennis itself is, like, super fun. I did, like... some online play. I just one of the tournaments, and you know, there's like a lot of things there. Obviously, the fever rackets are sort of like the main selling point with this one, where you would charge up your bar as you rally the ball, and these fever effects like do a bunch of different things. So you have ones that would spawn sort of like fire bars on the enemy court, or you could summon like a shadow clone of yourself. There's a bunch of really cool effects like that. And it really mixes up the gameplay. You know, Aces was very like technical. Like that game was very like people compare it to a fighting game because there was this like it was a lot more of a technical tennis game. This game goes full like basically Mario Party with it. Like this is just like nonsense. Like the core tennis still feels good, but you know, it is more about those fever rackets and like their effects. And if it's fun, you know, the presentation is very colorful. I think it looks pretty nice for the most part. You know, there's a lot of different modes in there too. I know there's like the wonder flower mode that like changes up the court. There's like a whole trial tower mode that has like a bunch of shit in it apparently. Like I think the reviewers really gloss over that because there's like 100 different challenges you could do, and I heard like they get pretty intense as well. So there's quite a bit to do in this game as well, besides just like the online play, and a lot to unlock. Like you could, you know, you only start with like I think 5 fever rackets, and you have to unlock like the other like 25 or whatever. There's a bunch of characters to unlock, there's color variants to get, so there is quite a bit in this game. That's kind of why like pushed me to get it, because like I like unlocking stuff. And you know, I've been getting some dopamine whenever I play it. You know, online I've been getting my ass kicked, but it's been, you know, fun as well because some people are just like too good at this shit for no reason. But honestly, it's a good time. Is it $70 worth? Probably fucking not. That's why I didn't buy it for $70. But I do think there's a lot of content there, and I think Camelot has really sort of like listened to the feedback with the Mario sports games recently, where, you know, a lot of them have been pretty lackluster for the most part. Again, I liked Aces and Super Rush, but like I heard the Strikers game kind of sucked ass. There was some other sports game that came out that people didn't like either, but I'm not like this diehard Mario sports game fan where I'm like, if one is bad, the whole generation of Nintendo is bad. Like that's weird. But Tennis Fever, I think it's a good time. I've been having a ton of fun with it. I'll probably definitely play a lot more of it, you know, for the next podcast. I could talk a bit more in depth with it. But yeah, so far it's been pretty fun. So yeah.
Yeah. I remember when this game was coming out and you were like, yeah, I'll buy it if like you and Kofi buy it. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I'm not fucking buying that shit.
I think Kofi bought it because I
really?
I saw on his Switch profile, it said like he played it. So I'm like, oh, I guess he did buy it. So.
Well, you know, maybe I'll buy it. I don't know. But like you said, $70 is pretty
it's a lot.
Pretty high, you know?
I only got it because I had cashbacks. So.
Yeah. And I wasn't that high on the previous Mario Tennis game, Tennis Aces. You know, I liked the open beta or like demo that they had, and then I bought it, and then I was like, you know what? I actually really don't like it as much as I thought I did. So, you know, maybe I'll buy it later this year. We'll see. But, you know, it is nice to see that Nintendo isn't forgetting like their sports titles, you know, even though that I think that Mario Tennis is like the most saturated one we've seen in a while. You know, definitely a lot of Mario Tennis games. I wish that they would go back to, you know, Mario Hoops 3 on 3. I think that was like a great fucking Mario sports entry.
That's a great game, bro. Yeah.
That's just me. All right, so let's get into the news of things before we get into the heavy hitters within gaming. Let's talk about Spider-Noir. They finally released a official trailer for it. This is the Amazon Prime series starring Nicolas Cage, and we are not sure if this takes place within the same Spider-Verse universe. Is this the same Spider-Noir? I don't really care, but it is a Spider-Noir series. And the cool thing about this is that they are releasing it within black and white and true color. So there are two ways to watch it. So if you want to watch it within the full black and white, you can, or you can watch it within the full color. And it's not like a bullshit like color thing. Like I watched both trailers and I was honestly very amazed by how they used the colors, right? Like it is actually like good color grading and shit. I was like, wait, this show actually kind of looks pretty good, you know, and even the black and white stuff still looks pretty good. You can't just like take a colorful show and then just put a black and white filter over it. There is like some technical stuff that you have to put into it to make it look good. And I think that this series from this trailer that we've seen makes it work. It will be 8 episodes long. It is dropping on May 27th. And Nicolas Cage will be Ben Reilly. He will not be Peter Parker. So that's how they're getting around the whole, like, you know, Spider-Man sort of fiasco there. But trailer itself, I really liked it. Gives us a pretty good idea in terms of like what they're doing and who Spider-Noir is. So yeah, you know, I can't wait to see what they do. Obviously, all 8 episodes are going to drop at once. So, you know, it's not doing the whole week-to-week thing, which I think some people may have wanted. But I think dropping it all at once works. We'll see, because I think that we are still in like a weird bubble within the sort of like streaming television, streaming world, is that, you know, certain shows will go week to week and then others will just drop it all at once. Actually, I might be fucking wrong because I'm looking at the goddamn release dates on Wikipedia and there's like 2 different dates on here. Anyways, whether it is dropping all at once or week to week, I will be there. We will be there for it because I think that this is a very interesting show within Sony's universe of Marvel live action.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's been kind of weird with their scheduling lately because I think they were doing the binge thing and then they're like, okay, let's do the weekly format because, you know, Fallout was weekly and I think Invincible is going to be weekly as well. So it looks like they're moving more towards weekly just to keep that engagement up and to keep people subscribed longer. I mean, there's a reason why weekly has worked. I mean, people like it as well. You know, gives more time for discussion, more time to appreciate
just to stop you. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like, what's it called? They're doing some weird thing where I think the first episode is going to premiere early on certain platforms. So that's why it's like a different date. But it looks like that they're just all going to drop on May 27th, all 8 episodes at least. I think the first episode is going to premiere like a few days earlier, but yeah, it looks like they're dropping it all at once. So, you know, I think that's fine. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, maybe they're just doing it for like, they know when they know they're going to do well. Like Fallout Season 2, people already liked it. Or like Invincible, like they know people are going to watch that shit weekly. For this, is like it's a new show, so maybe just get people to watch it, whatever. But again, I don't know. I'm not a fucking executive. But anyway, Spider-Noir looks really fun. You know, it's cool they're doing the black and white and color. I'll probably watch it in black and white, I guess, because I feel like that probably makes the most sense for something like this. Yeah. But I'll probably see some scenes again in color if that's if I have the choice to do that. But yeah, you know, Nick Cage, you know, he was Spider-Noir in the Spider-Verse films, and he was really funny in that. So it's cool to see him get like the full sort of show treatment in this as well. You know, the costume looks great as well. Like it looks really good in live action. I love his noir design a lot. And you know, you even got swinging in like a fucking TV show for Spider-Man, which is crazy. You know, people are always really anal about the swinging in Spider-Man. You know, it looks good to me. So, but yeah, I guess we'll see how it turns out. You know, we haven't really had a Spider-Man live action show in like ever.
Yes,
I think we might have had one in like the fucking 70s or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's because that is under Sony jail, so Marvel can't do anything with that or whatever. And you know, the whole Spider-Man rights is always a fucking confusing mess. So this is like the first like live action Spider-Man thing within television that we've seen from Sony. Even though I think that there have been multiple plans to do stuff with this, but I guess this is the one that actually fell through the cracks and we're actually finally seeing it.
Yeah, so we'll be there. watching this shit day one. Spider-Man fans as we are, we'll see how it goes. I'm honestly excited to see Nick Cage because he's always a fucking weirdo. So I guess we'll see how that goes as well.
He's a great actor. So
he is. And he doesn't get like a lot of good roles, I feel sometimes. But when he does get one, he does go ham on it, and I do like that. So I guess we'll see how he does in this show in general. Alrighty, so we got a lot of like bad news. Down news. Highguard,
not so great news.
Not so good news. So Highguard, the developer, Wildlight Entertainment, has seemingly laid off most of its staff. So I forgot when it was. I think it was last week. The website was down for like the whole. I think it might still be down. I'm not too sure. Actually, no. Let me check right now. Highguard.com. Let's see. Is it still down?
I believe it's back up now, yes.
Oh, no, it's back up now. Okay. Well, it was down for like almost like 2 days, and people were like, what's going on? And then it came out on LinkedIn that one of the employees said, like, yeah, most of the staff has been laid off, and they mostly are operating with a skeleton crew at this point. And I'm sure whatever updates they had already developed are being pushed out now just to like have it. And, there's a lot of speculation. Obviously, the game isn't doing well. The game launched with like 90,000 concurrent players, and that basically has dropped to like almost like 1,000 now, I believe. So, yeah, it's not great. And, there's a lot of blaming going around of Jeff Keighley for showing off the game at the last Game of the Game Awards, that brought a lot of bad publicity to the game. A lot of blame has been put onto developers themselves making the bad game. And, it's always hard to say who to blame for this stuff. I do think if you had 90 concurrent players and you only kept like 1,000, I do think that says something about the quality of the game. I'm not going to lie. But it also doesn't help that the game did get a huge hate campaign basically from the start because of where it was at the Game Awards, right?
Yes.
That doesn't help either. And it does suck to have your project basically be hated as soon as it like gets come out and like no one really gave it a chance to begin with. I gave it a chance and I don't think it was a good game if I'm gonna be honest. I think there was just too many elements that just weren't working for it. The game was just it was like combining so many genres together and it just came out very confused and I think it just needed a lot of work. But when it comes with these live service games, people aren't really going to give it that chance anymore. There's so many games in this genre that people could play instead, whether it be tactical shooters like Valorant or CSGO, or if you want to play the more hero shooter stuff like Rivals or Overwatch, people would just flock to that instead, right? People aren't going to wait for your game to be good because there's a very good alternatives to begin with, right? So making a good live service game, especially in the FPS market, is almost like a death sentence if you aren't super unique or just really solid to begin with, right? I think that's why we've been seeing a lot more extraction shooters because that genre hasn't really been fully mined out yet, right? I mean, Arc Raiders has been doing insanely good because there's not too many extraction shooters to really compete with besides like Tarkov and like the Hunt Showdown. And that's why Bungie's Marathon is also probably going to be a big hit. Well, maybe when that comes out as well. Because again, the extraction shooter like genre isn't like super packed yet. So yeah, it sucks that people are losing their jobs and it doesn't seem like Highguard is going to really last much longer. I'll be surprised if they even make it to like summer, if I'm going to be honest. But that's just how it is, like with these live service games. They're big gambles and they almost usually fail at this point.
Yeah, Highguard is a very interesting situation because obviously, like you said, the hate campaign was so big because it had the massive spotlight on it at the Game Awards because Jeff Keighley genuinely liked the product. He really enjoyed the game and he wanted to share it with the world and he thought people would react kindly to it. Obviously, that is not the case. When it comes to live service games, we've talked about this time and time again on the show. Whether it is the Sony PlayStation live service games getting canceled, shut down every other week, or it is now with this game and a bunch of other games that are slowly coming up within the live service market. It's like, it's so hard to get new people into your game to take them away from the games that they already love and play on a daily and weekly basis, like Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, League of Legends, whatever. Like those are their games and they are comfortable going back to those games because that's their live service free-to-play game that they've chosen. And to take that away from them and try to be like, hey guys, come to our lunch table, check out our game. It's like, yeah, they'll check it out, but are they going to stay? Most likely not. It's very hard to keep players in. And there was this whole controversy after it was like officially announced that like Wildlight Entertainment was laying off. One of the developers took to Twitter and pretty much wrote like a big like Twitter post where it was like, there's like many different areas to blame. Like internally they thought that the game was going to be a massive success, and like people were telling them like this is going to be the next big hit, this and that. My opinion of the game, I haven't played a lot. I really do like when the game was coming out, I wanted to put in like, 10 hours at least and like put like a video out on it, but I just couldn't find the time, and I felt like that there were other games and projects that I could have put into in terms of video content creation that was better than another video on Highguard that just says, yeah, the game's mid. Like what else could I really say? Because like I enjoyed my time playing it, but I'm playing it with friends, like I have to like take that into account. And when I was playing it by myself, obviously it's a new game. It's a new first person shooter game. You're like doing all of this weird MOBA stuff, or like you're like looting, you're farming, and then you got to fight them for like this like bearing objective kind of thing with like the key. You take the key, you go to their base. All right, now you have like a few minutes to like destroy their base. If not, you do the cycle again. Loot gets better, more upgrades, all of this other stuff. And like some games could take like 10 to 15 minutes. Other games could take like 30 to like 45. And I'm like, yeah, that's like a fucking MOBA right then and there. But it's also doing like the shooter stuff. And it's like, it's trying to combine so much into it that it just wasn't for me. And I think that if the game genuinely didn't have the spotlight that it had on it, it might have done better. I don't know, because it wouldn't have had the explosion that it did when it first came out with over 100K players online, like 100%. If it didn't have the Game Awards spotlight on it, no one would have heard about it. And the game would have launched, came out, it probably would have done even worse, and it wouldn't even have 1,000 players online every single day, which is like a huge drop, from like 100K peak to now it's like 1,000, and like that sucks. Like that is so terrible. And like obviously we don't want these games to do bad, but I think the live service market is already flooded with enough games as is that it's so hard to get into them. And I'm sure we're going to see so many other like extraction shooters come out even after Marathon launches, because people are going to be like, well, that's like the next like, live servicing that we could do, right? And it's like, please don't, please fucking stop. Like eventually there's going to be a new hole within the gaming market for another live service game. But I think right now it's so flooded with like all of these other games. I haven't even said things like Dead by Daylight because I don't play that shit, and like several other games that like I don't touch, but I know that they are out there that people play on a daily and weekly basis because they like playing it. They like playing it with their friends, and like that is like their go-to live service game. And Highguard is just another example of just like, yeah, we launched and we tried to sort of make a splash, and it just unfortunately didn't work. I think that the hate campaign definitely had a factor in terms of people not wanting to try it or not willing to try it, because I was watching a stream, shout out to the Black Hokage, and people were like in his chat being like, should I try this game out? Should I play it? I'm like, motherfucker, it's free. It's free. It's free to play. You can play it on your PC, you can play it on your console, download it. Actually, one thing I will praise Highguard for, it's not that big of a download either.
No, it's like 20 gigs or something.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not that big of a game. You could download it, play it, try it for yourself. Grab like 2 of your friends, play it together, see how it goes. Yeah, have fun with it, And like I said, the game is just not for me. I think that, even adding like more players, because I believe we play like the 5v5 mode, which is like, there's like not enough like going on the map for like me to feel like that I'm doing something for my team. Like, I think there was straight up a game where I just did nothing. And I was just like, well, we're winning, I guess, like I'm planting the bomb. We're doing this, we're doing that, But Highguard, I wish that it would do better, but it is just so hard to break into the market. And, with that dev posting that whole long thing where it's like, yeah, like people internally were saying X, Y, and Z and whatever. And it's like, I feel like the people that were telling him that were just telling them that just for the sake of like maybe being nice. Cause I don't know. Cause I think anyone that genuinely plays games looks at Highguard and is like, all right, I could see what you're doing, but like, there's like a lot of things that you need to like work on, like the visuals, like it's not that appealing. Like it's very generic. It's just like, gamer guy number 3 and like all of these other characters that they have in there. Visually, it's not that appealing. I think the gameplay is very interesting, but it's like all over the fucking place. Yeah. It doesn't really have like a super strong identity. And like that might be something that people really like, that it feels like that that you are playing like 3 to 5 games at once. Like it is very weird. Like you are doing like this base building, base defending, base attacking, farming objectives and shit like that. It's like there's a lot going on within the game, but I think some people just like to have like the straightforward sort of nature of like the already live service games that are out right now, whether it is Apex Legends, League of Legends, Valorant, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, whatever. You know, I think Highguard is a very interesting case, and I hope that it lives on for at least a year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it closes down by the end of it.
Yeah, again, like you said, it just didn't know what to be. And like I said, people aren't going to be waiting around to see if this game gets better, because there are better games out there that does all the things it does, just like better. Yeah, it doesn't combine them all into one game, but like, do you really want that? Because, you know, the whole pre-game part of like upgrading your base doesn't really matter. You could do like, oh, you put up walls and that's it. It's like you don't put up like turrets or traps or anything. You just make your walls a bit stronger, which doesn't really mean anything. The whole looting phase is just like 5 minutes of like nothing happening, and you just get loot that doesn't really matter. Then you have like the whole capture the flag part, which is actually kind of fun. And then you go into the base, turns into CS:GO. I'm just like, what is this game? It's just like too many shooter like genres into one game, and it just doesn't like feel right. And you know, again, like I said, people just weren't going to wait around for it. And a lot of characters weren't very appealing as well. You know, it's kind of like the death knell for Concord as well. Like the game just didn't have a strong identity either. It just felt like Overwatch, but like not as good. So,
yeah.
Again, sucks that people are losing their job. Like I said, sucks that this game went, like, it became such a drama-filled thing because of Jeff Keighley and like how everything was handled. But you know, I don't think it was his fault to begin with. Like, I think he did just want to show off the game. Mm-hmm. It just was like bad timing to be like the last game to show. If this was like in the middle of the show, fine, who cares? But the fact that it was the last game, I think that really did hurt the game a lot. And you know, having the last announcement of a Game of the Year thing, which is like the biggest event of gaming in the year, and you can't even play it anymore at some point, would be like crazy. So yeah. Highguard has been quite the journey, and yeah, it looks like it's about to be over soon. So yeah.
Yeah. I definitely do not think that Jeff Keighley had any malicious intent in terms of showing Highguard at the Game Awards. You know, he was just super excited to show this game that he played early, and he was like, yo, these guys are like cooking, and like he thinks that this is going to be like the next big thing. And then, you know, all of these other people see it online, and, you know, I think you and I are just, you know, we play games regularly. It's like, well, we've seen this sort of time and time again. And yeah, it is cool that they are combining all of these genres together, but does it actually make sense? Not really. You know, I think that to those that are still playing it, power to you. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. But I think for a majority of people that are in that like 100K bracket on Steam, it just wasn't for them.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Speaking of teams getting laid off, unfortunately, we got 2XKO, Riot Games. They are announcing that their fighting game division, 2XKO, they are sizing it down exponentially. Like they are sizing it down by a lot so they can quote, with a smaller focus team, we're going to dig in and make key improvements to the game, including some of the things we've already heard you asking for. They are still going to operate in terms of like the tournaments and stuff, because I know that that's like a big part of like Riot Games, like their projects. They have a very good like tournament and like esports ecosystem, I would say. Like they know what they're doing because of their time with League of Legends, so they're gonna still try to work with tournament organizers and try to get tournaments off the ground in that end, because, you know, fighting game tournaments are fucking hype. Like no matter where you are or like what kind of person you are in like the gaming space, you gotta admit, fucking watching Evo every single year is pretty fun. So
it is, yeah.
We'll see what happens with 2XKO. I mean, this is so funny because I was talking with my coworker who's a big like League of Legends Riot guy, and you know, he plays some I think it was Brawlhalla. So like he knows a little bit about like fighting games and stuff, you know, and he's like, dude, like 2XKO, like they've obviously made it like accessible for people where it's like you could just hold down one button and it does like the full combo for you. But I think the beauty about fighting games, which, you know, is like a barrier for me personally, is something that I know for myself that I get fucking tilted very easily when I know that I'm the one making the mistake and like getting tilted or like lack of knowledge in terms of like matchup and stuff like that. It's like I don't have the patience to like, you know, grind a fighting game But like if I had like, millions of dollars and like nothing else to do, yeah, fuck it, why not? I'll spend like a week trying to, figure out how to play Street Fighter or Tekken or whatever. But, I understand why they have like these easy mode ways of like playing the game now, but I think just having like one button, it does the combo for you. It just makes it so much less exciting because it's like, is this person actually doing like the combo, or like are they just holding the fucking button? And then like they have like these other characters in here with like fucking Teemo actually being too small to hit, and it's like, nope, fuck that shit. That's like Yoda and goddamn Soul Calibur. Get that away from me. But yeah, 2XKO is a very interesting project because I know that they brought in a lot of like key fighting game veterans within the industry to make their League of Legends fighting game. And for them to be like, all right, well, now that the game's officially launched, we're not seeing the sort of rewards that we thought we would. We're just going to lay off like a majority of the team. That fucking sucks. I wish that they really gave like, at least after Evo, right? Like, I think like after Evo, if it's like not showing that like people are like engaged or like interested in it, because like we got to talk about this. Like these are League of Legends players that they're trying to appeal to. They ain't getting away from that game. Whatever Riot put into that game in particular, they are so addicted and so hooked, they cannot get out of it for whatever reason. So it's very much like the audience that they're trying to appeal to is something completely new to them. And with so many other fighting games out there, it's the same thing that we were literally just talking about with the whole live service thing. You're trying to pull people away from their fighting game to come and play their new one called 2XKO. And it's like, will it work? Will it won't? I mean, it is very cool to see Riot make a fighting game, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really have that same star power as something like Street Fighter or Tekken.
Yeah, and I don't really know why. Like, I do feel like the name is pretty bad still to begin with. I think 2XKO isn't like a super catchy name to get people's attention. But also, I do feel like the game also feels a little bit confused of what it wants to be. Because I know it's like a 2v2 tag fighter, but there's like two players like playing against each other. And I feel like that sort of cooperation in a fighting game feels a bit odd, since fighting games have always been a very like solo focused sort of like gameplay style, right? Like you're always like just me versus my opponent. I know there's doubles and like Smash or whatever, but for the most part, fighting games are usually like a very solo thing. So having that seems like a bit like a barrier of entry. Then I heard like the game does have like really complex mechanics, but also very simple mechanics. So it doesn't feel like it doesn't know what player to attract. Like it doesn't know if it wants to attract people that are newer to fighting games or people that are more veterans to the genre in general. That it just feels a bit confused. Honestly, I think, they had that canceled platform fighter that they were going to make. I honestly feel like that probably would have done better for them than doing like a traditional fighting game. Yeah. Because I think, the platforming fighter space isn't like super saturated. Like it kind of is, but also isn't, because Smash Brothers exists, and that's like obviously the main one. Because Rivals of Aether does okay, but doesn't do as well as it probably should do. And then you have Brawlhalla, which is the other big one. Like I think if Riot really went into the platforming fighter genre, I think it probably would have done a bit better than this one, because you're competing with like so many other fighting games that people would rather play, like Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Tekken, like all these really big complex fighters that I feel like it was just really struggling to find an audience for. But it does suck that Riot also just gave up like immediately. Like they released it and then just like, okay, that's it. Like, it's very sad, because I'm like, I don't know how much money these people are investing into these projects anymore, because it's not like live service games failing are like a new thing. Like, when we were growing up, there were so many MOBAs that were like chasing the League train, like Heroes of New Earth and some other MOBAs, a lot of MMOs, which I chased off the WoW high as well. But those games at least lasted a year before they like laid off a bunch of people. It's crazy how games can like release 1 month and then they're like, it's over. Like we're not making our money back. That's it. Like you could have at least like give it like a few more months before like calling it quits and like laying off like half your studio at that point, right? So and live service games are like this, like they're like this investment for both the company and for the player. If the player sees your game, like if you see someone lay off like most of their staff, he's like, I'm not gonna play that game now. That game's gonna die in like a few months. And then it's like this like self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like, the game's doing bad, and now the players are going to go away because the players are afraid their time is going to be wasted by investing it into this dead game, right? So I don't know. I feel like they should eat some losses because I feel like they have something here. It's not like Highguard, where I feel like that game was kind of doomed to begin with. Like 2XKO, I feel like it could have been something if they like really. And it's not dead yet, obviously, but you know, it feels like writing on the wall already. Like, you know, try stick it out, like you said, at least to Evo. See how that does in a more like the biggest fighting game tournament in the world, and then see what happens from there before just like axing like half the fucking studio at that point, right? So
yeah. It also sucks that like this game's been in development for so long, and Riot showed it, and they're like, they were like, we're working on this fighting game, and it's like, oh my god, it looks so cool, and it's like, all right, here it is again, all right, here it is again, all right, now it's like officially launched, and it's like, wait, it just came out? I thought this was out for like, you know, a while now.
Yeah, I think I heard it a lot too, because I didn't even know it came out because it was in betas and alphas for so long, and I think Riot didn't do a good job really communicating when the big 1.0 patch was going to come out. And when it did come out, like I felt like no one talked about it. Like it came out, like no one fucking talked about it. I'm like, where's this game? And it also
weird
sucks
too,
this game
because
has
like I just came up with this idea, right? Because it's like, it's a fucking League of Legends fighting game. Why aren't they making like League of Legends like cosmetics? It doesn't have to be like full on skins within League of Legends, but maybe like icons or like words to like advertise like the 2XKO like brand into, you know, that game, and be like, oh, you know what? I played like Smash Brothers and like Street Fighter when I was a kid. Maybe I'll go try that out, because it is a free to play game too, right? Yeah. Like there's no barrier of entry there, but it's like, you know, it's a fighting game, so it's something completely different. I feel like there's definitely a lot more that Riot could have done to set up 2XKO for success, but it feels like that the marketing for the game, like you said, you didn't even know that like it fucking came out. It kind of just like came and went, and now it's like, all right, well, like most of the staff is like gone. We're gonna like still like try to make the game work, but like most of the people are out.
Yeah, so it's just really odd. So yeah, hopefully Riot could do something here, because it sucks, because I was really excited for Riot to really expand the League IP, to like do other games and all these other things, but everything has basically just failed except Arcane. Like Arcane was the only thing that did like pretty well. Even then, I don't think it made a lot of money, because that show was so expensive to make. Like, and you know, season 2 was a bit mixed for a lot of people. So yeah, I feel like Riot just going back into be like, we're just gonna focus on League again. So, which is a bit unfortunate, because I really like what they were doing with like, expanding the League IP, because I really do like that world. I just like League itself is kind of like fucking annoying. So it would be cool to have that world be more accessible. And you know, it's rumored they're doing the MMO, but that got restarted development. I don't even know if that's coming out anymore. So it's like a whole fucking thing. So we'll see what Riot does from here, but it ain't looking so hot. So hopefully 2XKO does better in the future, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alrighty, so on to actually good news for a little bit. So yeah, the state of play happened. So this happened on the 12th. And it was actually good. And it was like the only one I fucking missed, because I had to work. And I'm like, of course, they did a good state of play when I was gone. But yeah, there was a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of things coming out this year, which is nice. There's only like a few games that were like coming out like way in the future. And you know, I really want more presentations to do that, because, you know, I feel like it kind of gets the win out of your sales to be like, oh, here's the game, and it's coming out in like 2 fucking years from now. And there's one game like that here, but for the most part, everything here is coming out like day and like on this year, which is great. So we got some cool stuff, like, you know, start with like the Kina, like not Bridge of Spirits, Scars of Cosmora. So that's really cool. Yes. I haven't finished Kina yet, because it's hard as shit for like no reason, but I do want to go back to it and actually finish it, because it is a good game. You know, it's a beautiful game. This one is also coming out 2026, so this year, for PC and PS5. Yeah, that game, the first game was just such a beautiful game that I'm really happy they are deciding to make a sequel to it. You know, after like 6 years, because I think it came out 2020. It was a very close PS5 launch game, so that's really cool to see. And yeah, there was just a bunch of other shit if you want to pick some, because there was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, watching this live, I think opening up with Kina Scars of Cosmora was such a great pick, because that is a PlayStation IP that, you know, people have seen before. They might have remembered from the previous state of plays, and it's like, oh, look, now that there is a sequel to it, and then they, you know, they sort of soft launched that into the rest of the presentation, because, you know, it's not like the super big game. Like, imagine if they started out with like fucking God of War, right? Like, that would have been like kind of crazy. It's like, holy shit, like that's like the big game. But obviously they kept that towards the end. So I'm glad that like PlayStation, for some fucking reason, finally, after all of these goddamn years, they finally found like the perfect formula for a state of play. I guess like the stars aligned in terms of like their partners and like what games were coming out and sort of what they were ready to show off. And it's like, all right, now we're able to put the pieces together, and they came up with this probably like perfect state of play that they've had so far. So yeah, I mean, Kena was a great one to show off. Resident Evil 9 Requiem got another trailer that comes out later this week. It shows that Leon may or may not be in danger, but I think I saw a Twitter post that was like, Capcom loves to like fucking bait their fans into thinking that like their main MC is gonna die. So like I'm holding my breath on it. I'm pretty sure if they fucking cap Leon in this game, a lot of people are gonna be upset. But I think if they do it right, it will be like a fucking tearjerker. That shit will be so emotional for a lot of people if he does like meet his end here. But the game is leaked online, and I haven't seen anything yet because I muted the Resident Evil words on Twitter. So, but if you fucking leak anything to me, I will block your ass everywhere. So, yeah, very, very excited about that game, obviously.
Yeah, you know, we're both very excited for Resident Evil, so I'm really excited that it's almost out, you know, coming out this week, which is very exciting. Actually, I do want to talk about Beast of Incarnation because I actually think this was a really good trailer. You know, during the Xbox stuff, they showed some gameplay of it, and it looked good, but it still has like Game Freak jank to it. This trailer actually does look really good. I actually am hesitant, like I'm cautiously optimistic about the game. You know, Game Freak, you know, they do some bullshit, but it does seem that they have a lot of passionate developers on there. And I do feel a lot of reason why Pokemon games look the way they do is because they just don't have that development time to make it as good as it could be, right? This game, I think they said, was in development for like a normal AAA dev time, like 6 years or something. And it seems to be a really big passion project for them. And, you know, you can really tell from like this trailer and just like from the other interviews they've done where it's like, this is a game they really want to make. And, you know, hopefully it turns out good. I mean, even if it's like a 7 or an 8, as long as it's like fun, I don't really care. So I guess we'll see, because Game Freak has done some good stuff that's non-Pokemon related, and that seems to be some of like the, honestly, most of their creative stuff goes into projects like that. I think the outlier was like Town, because Town was really bad. But like I think besides that, like a lot of the other non-Pokemon stuff has been like pretty good. So I've been a bit more interested in trying this game out when it does come out. We'll see how the reviews are looking. But I guess we'll see when it comes out August 4th. But yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll probably give it a shot.
Yeah, it's very weird to see, you know, Game Freak make a game like this, obviously, because they are known for the Pokemon games. But like you said, I'm sure that a lot of people on the team are like, all right, we're making Pokemon. All right, let me just bullshit this in, whatever. But, you know, they've been working on this for a while, and it seems like that they're very passionate about it. It does seem like it's, you know, taking certain things from like the Souls-like genre in terms of like the combat, which is pretty cool, and just making it into like their own game with like this girl and the wolf and like these spirits in this magical world. So yeah. Rayman 30th anniversary. This one is a little bit controversial because they replaced the soundtrack. Yeah. So some people are not happy about that, but it did shadow drop during the state of play, which is pretty cool. It will come out physically June 26th, but I mean, you got like every version of fucking Rayman on this one collection, which is pretty neat, regardless of the soundtrack. Obviously, you know, there's been releases of like games and other media out there where it's like, oh, well, the soundtrack's like a fucking pain in the ass to get. And it's like, are we going to let the soundtrack be the thing to stop us from releasing it? Not really. We're going to, I guess we're going to have to, you know, replace it with something else. The last thing that I could remember fondly is like the Dragon Ball Z Budokai collection on the Xbox 360 and PS3. They had to replace a lot of those songs. Yes. Because I think the guy who composed them may or may not have plagiarized them, or some other copyright bullshit going on there. But yeah, it is always very sad to see a game not get the full package treatment. But you know, it is what it is. I haven't heard anything bad about it outside of the soundtrack stuff, so I'm definitely gonna look out for that when it comes out physically.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I just don't like Rayman 1 very much, to be honest. Like, I think it's kind of like, okay. Like, I think the other Rayman games are great. Like, Rayman 2, obviously, Origins and Legends are fantastic. But, like, the original Rayman, I've always been very, like, mixed on. Like, it's okay. I remember playing it on PS3 when it was on, like, they had the PS1 version. I'm like, this is, like, kind of, like, whatever. So, cool that has, like, every version of Rayman 1 in there. Sucks that about the soundtrack. But cool that Rayman hasn't been totally forgotten by Ubisoft. That's always nice to see. So, yeah. Okay. Star Wars looks like really good for like no reason, by the way. I didn't expect the stupid kart race, or I guess like just racing game, to like look as good as it does, but it does look really good. You have like a bunch of glub shittos in there. You got like the dude from episode 1. In this trailer, we saw like another glub shitto who's from like, I don't remember what fucking Star Wars thing he was from, but I remember seeing him before. So there's gonna be some wacky characters you could pick. I would assume so. And it's cool that it's not just pod racing. Like you could like do other vehicles, and like you're going around different planets and like I guess space stations. Like it's going crazy with it. And it being developed by Burnout devs is like a really smart decision, since it looks like there's going to be a lot of like destruction happening and all these cool scenarios. I don't really know how the single player is going to work. I think they said they want to have like this scenario mode where you're like doing a bunch of like story missions and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. They also said they want this to be a complete package. Like they want this to just be a full complete game, which is neat to hear. Because, with these type of games, you're so used to getting like a billion DLCs, or it doesn't come out super well. I mean, even like something like Star Wars Outlaws was like kind of a mess at launch. So it's nice that they seem to really want to take this game seriously and make it just a really good Star Wars kart racer here. So yeah, honestly, it looks way better than it probably should be. So I'm really excited for this game. Didn't expect to be excited for a pod racing game, but here you go.
Like all my girlfriend said, she was like, "It's not the fucking KOTOR games. I hate it."
It's not KOTOR. Yeah.
The game does look very, very good. I think Galactic Racers definitely has no business being as good as it is, but it looks phenomenal just because of the previous team's experience with Burnout, and I think Need for Speed as well. Like they know their way around this genre, and to get their hands on the Star Wars IP and turn that around, I think that's going to be great. The next game that they showed off was 007 First Light. I just want to talk about this just because I love Uncharted. So like this game just reminds me so much of Uncharted, and I'm like, you know what? We're getting another Uncharted like game with the 007 GoldenEye James Bond sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I think that people that are eager for another sort of Uncharted like action adventure game, this will definitely fill that sort of void in their life, and I'm definitely one of those people, so I will be there when it launches on May 27th.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's kind of like a mix of like Uncharted and Hitman, like the newer Hitman games, because it's made by the same developers. And I heard nothing but good things about those Hitman games, and I do want to play them at some point. This game is looking basically like Hitman with a bunch more set piece moments. So that's really cool to see. So hopefully it's good, because it seems like they want this to be like its own trilogy. Like it wouldn't surprise me if this game does well, they'll age him up and then go through the own James Bond cinematic universe or something. Since, I think he's like fresh off the fucking academy in this game. So that's pretty cool to see. So we'll see how this game does, because it is quite a lot of hype for this one. So hopefully it delivers on that. So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is all the fucking Konami stuff. So yeah, I think Konami really stole the show here, because there was a lot. So first being the MGS collection. So this one has MGS4 and Peace Walker. And, Metal Gear Solid 4 hasn't been available outside the PS3 forever. Right? Since like 2008, the thing has been stuck on PS3. So it's so cool to finally get the game on modern platforms. Same thing with Peace Walker. Even though I think you could have played that game before, but it's still cool that it's packaged in there. There's some cool other stuff in there, but the main thing is Metal Gear Solid 4. Like that game has been stuck in PS3 jail for so long. So it's so cool to see that game finally out of that prison. I was telling my brother this, like after, since I'm basically almost done with all these Resident Evil games, I really do want to make Metal Gear like the next series I really want to get into. Like it's been something I've been thinking about for like last year or so. Since I have like the volume 1 over there on my shelf. So I really do want to like play through it, play through 1 through 3. And then when this comes out, I do want to play MGS4 at some point as well. So that's something I've been thinking about once like all these fucking games stop coming out. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to try out, because Metal Gear Solid, I feel like it's a pretty big gap in my gaming knowledge, and it's something I really want to fill in,
Yeah, I think that Metal Gear Solid is a very cool series. It does suck that, Kojima and Konami were left on not so great terms, so people are very much a little cautious of that franchise these days, but it seems like that Konami's just like re-releasing the good stuff. Like they are not trying to make a new Metal Gear game whatsoever, because they know that like they can't do it without him, honestly. You know, as much as bad blood is between them, they realized like very quickly after, they were like, all right, let's try to make a new Metal Gear game. None of them went well. None of them fucking went well. So they've just been doing remakes and remasters, and I think that this new collection is very, very cool. Like you said, MGS4, that shit's been on PS3 hell. As much as I love this console, I love the PlayStation 3. You know, there are so many great games on here that are just stuck, and and it's cool to see MGS4 make it out of there, you know, even though Metal Gear is another series that I really need to get into. But just to see them, you know, finally give a lot more people access to that game is nice. I guess the next big Konami thing is Castlevania Belmont's Curse. I mean, you know, I've been watching some Call Me Johnny's videos on Castlevania, and just to see them make another Castlevania game is really, really cool. This is made by the people that did the Dead Cells DLC Evil Empire. So I'm like, look, man, y'all got a fucking indie dev to do it. Y'all didn't trust yourselves to do it. I think that that's dope. I always believe that like indie companies and like people that are extremely passionate about series will always do a better job than like people internally most of the time. I mean, we've seen it with Sonic Mania and like other indie projects here and there, but I think that this new Castlevania game definitely has the potential to be, you know, a nice return to form for the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I actually appreciate when companies do this. Konami's been doing it quite a bit. You know, like they don't have like, I don't think they have like any Eternal teams left in there. So like, you know, they gave Blooper team the rights to do Silent Hill 2 remake, and that came out pretty well. But then you have other companies like Atari giving their rights to like Bubsy to do like Bubsy 4D, and obviously Sonic Mania. So like they could do some really passionate things with that. And it's cool whenever like devs are clearly, like they make an indie game that's clearly inspired by the source material, and then they get to do something within that main game. So obviously with this, you know, the Twisted Pixel, or not Twisted Pixel, sorry, Evil Empire, you know, they did all the DLCs for Dead Cells, and that game is obviously very inspired from Castlevania in general. So it's cool that they got to do their own Castlevania type game. I don't know if it's supposed to be a full-on Castlevania, like Metroidvania type deal, or if it's supposed to be like a different genre or what, but it looks great. Like I'm very excited that we're finally getting a new sort of 2D Castlevania after so long. You know, like Konami's been doing all of these collections for so long, and finally being like, okay, let's like actually do new content now is really cool to see. And it looks great. You know, again, all these series are things I want to play. Like I do want to go through all the Castlevanias at some point as well. I have all the collections, I just haven't played them. So that's another thing I want to do at some point in my life. But yeah, it's really cool to see Castlevania come back with a new 2D Castlevania game, because that's something people have been wanting for so long. I think there hasn't been a new one in like since the DS, I think. So it's been a really long time. Like we got Lords of Shadows on like 360 and stuff, but that was by Mercury Steam. Again, those were 3D games. So cool to finally see this happen. And again, I really give props to Konami for really reviving these series, because the next game they did is Silent Hill Townfall, sorry. That's also coming out this year. All these games are coming out this year, by the way, which is like also fucking crazy. So yeah, this is another Silent Hill game. You know, I guess they want to keep it as a yearly release. You know, we got Blooper team that made a Silent Hill 2 remake, I think 2 years ago at this point. Silent Hill Elf came out last year, which I heard was pretty damn good. And now this game looks like fucking RE7, but with Silent Hill. It's like it's first person. You know, you're going through all these like Silent Hill type stuff. I don't know what the deal is with the story yet, but it looks cool. So I believe it's the people that made some other indie studio that I think made Observer. I could be wrong, but they also made like some other indie horror game, I believe. So that's also cool that they have the rights to just like here, make a Silent Hill game. Fuck it, whatever, bro. You probably do it better than us at this point, and it looks good. So yeah, Silent Hill is definitely a series I also want to get into as well. But it looks great too, and you know, like Konami has been really turning around. They really want to have their Capcom moment, because you know, before 2017 or so, like, Capcom was really in a rut. Like, you know, like Street Fighter 5 was kind of ass. Resident Evil 6 was kind of shit. They had so many canceled projects. But after RE7 came out, like Capcom has such a big like boom in their gaming division. Like now Capcom is like one of the best developers out there. And it seems like Konami kind of wants to take a book from that, because they're like, hey, we got a lot of strong IPs. We should do something with it. And I'm happy that they are, because this was a great showing from them. And I'm really excited about all the things they've shown.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many great IPs under Konami's belt, and the fact that we got a showcase for all three of them, Metal Gear, Castlevania, and now with Silent Hill, it is cool to see that Silent Hill is becoming like a yearly release thing, and it's not like the same team that we saw before. Like you said, Blooper Team did Silent Hill 2 Remake. Silent Hill F was made by Neo Bards Entertainment, don't really know them, and now this new one is made by Screenburn Interactive, which, like you said, Observation from 2019.
That's the one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, they are just giving their IP to other developers, which I think is great, because that just means that the players and the people that are huge fans of these series could continue to enjoy the new projects and new visions for them. I fucking love comic books, and people will always say that, it's so confusing to get into, but it's because they're always swapping people around. They're always getting new writers and new teams into the heroes and the characters. And it's always exciting to get into a new run for those characters. And, it's kind of like the same thing that they're doing with Silent Hill here, right? Like, they're giving all of these different teams, like, all right, here you are, you're doing a remake, you're doing a new thing, and you're also doing a new thing. Obviously, the people higher up are gearing them in a certain direction, but they're still able to make a game within that franchise. I mean, fucking PlayStation should goddamn take a page out of that book and be like, all right, guys, who wants to make this old IP that we haven't done in a while, a fucking Ape Escape game? Who wants to do a goddamn Ape Escape game? All right, here you go, make it. We'll check back within 6 months and then see how you're doing. PlayStation has so many great and amazing IPs that they don't have to be trapped within jail with those original developers. Obviously, they could maybe co-develop it, or sort of executive produce it and oversee it. But I think that the way that Konami is handling their properties should be seen by the rest of the industry, obviously by the big companies, because they are just holding on to these IPs and they're not really doing much with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Microsoft, right? It would be cool if Playtonic, that did ukuleles, hey, could we just straight up do a banjo game? And okay, yeah, here you go. And then they could do a banjo game, right? That would be really cool. But Microsoft probably won't do that for some reason. It's not like they're not getting money for it either. It's they're also getting money for it. So I don't really see the reason why they shouldn't let them just do it. So yeah, hopefully seeing this, and I feel like it helps combat the really long dev times as well. These developers could work on all these different projects, but it's not the same developer. So you're getting just more stuff, which is cool. And you get to see different takes on these series, right? I think Silent Hill works very well with that, because, if they were all the same, then it's just okay, yeah, they're just all the same game. But this one, Silent Hill F to 2 to now this game, they all feel very distinct from each other. I think that's really neat. It keeps the series fresh, and I think that's really cool. And hopefully we see Sony do more of this. We're gonna talk about it as probably the last thing we talk about here. But I do want to see more of this, because I think it's a really cool decision and really combats those really long dev times we see in modern gaming. So
yeah. The John Wick game, obviously, I think that this has been a long time coming. John Wick as a franchise has been on the up and up ever since that first movie, because John Wick is just such a fucking cool series. And for them to finally make a AAA game out of it is going to be pretty cool. Obviously, we just saw him shoot a bunch of bald guys, and we don't really know much about the gameplay. I'm sure it's gonna be maybe a Sifu kind of game where it's kind of hand-to-hand combat, also with guns. But a John Wick game, I'm in on it. I think a lot of people are sold on it just based on that idea alone.
Yeah, I think I'm back. So
all right, okay,
he's in the game. All right, so then we got sort of the big, sort of more first party PlayStation stuff come out, like Marathon, which still looks cool. So I don't have nothing really to say about it besides it looks cool. And the visuals are cool, but I'm not that into extraction shoot. Do you have an extraction shooter? Sounds really dumb to me. So I don't know if I'll probably try it, but I'm not
I've
super,
never played one. So I don't know what the fuck is up with Arc Raiders or anything like that. I'm just why are people playing these games? I watch them, I see them, I'm all right, they're shooting people, but I don't know what the objective is. So don't explain it to me. I will figure it out in Marathon. I'll figure it out.
All right. I think I like Sarah. Sarah still looks really good. I'm very excited for this game. It's definitely one of my most anticipated games of this year. It just looks like it's taking everything from Returnal, plus adding that meta progression to keep you hooked, keep you playing run to run. I know you could sort of teleport to different biomes, so runs aren't super long, which I think was a problem Returnal had. So yeah, definitely looks really cool. Definitely more of an emphasis on the story this time around. Returnal did too, but it was a bit more weird with its storytelling. This one seems to be a bit more traditional. So yeah, Seraos still looks really good. I'm very excited about that game.
I never told you this, but I bought Returnal, I think, last week or the week before. So
let's go. The game is very good. So
we'll see if I play it before Saros.
It's hard as shit. So like, you know, get ready for that.
I will prepare myself for that. You know, like I said, I'm playing Fallout New Vegas, and then we got Resident Evil this week. We got Scott Pilgrim, Life is Strange. So I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna get to it. I keep forgetting about Life is Strange, bro. Every time you say that, I'm like, fuck, that is coming out. I like keep forgetting. Right. Do you just want to talk about God of War, or do you want to touch on Marvel Token Fighters?
Token looks cool. I don't know who the fuck Danger was, and then someone explained it. I'm like, she was like a room or something. I don't know. Like that, it's cool. I thought she was like an OC for a second. I'm like, who the fuck is Danger?
Same.
But, yeah. But yeah, the game looks really cool. 20 characters. 20 characters does seem a bit small for like a game that has like, what, 3 people you can play as at once? Or more than that. I don't even know how many people you can play as at once in this game. But looks cool. You know, it still that has the Arc System work, art style and flair to it. Looks neat. We'll see how it does when it comes out. So yeah.
All right. So God of War. These are the last announcements that they did. So they announced the God of War trilogy remake. So they are going back to the Greek mythology stuff, or the Norse. I'm so sorry. Fucking Greek, right?
No, Greek,
the Greek.
Right? Yeah.
Greek mythology. Okay. I'm a fucking idiot. So yeah, I mean, like that's like the God of War stuff that I'm very much familiar with. You know, I definitely played those when I was a little too young on my PlayStation 3.
Yeah, me too.
But, you know,
I didn't
those games are great.
I saw them.
They are great hack and slash games. And even though the story was very much like Kratos go kill God over and over again, I was like, I'm fucking in. I love this version of Kratos just because it is just so much fun just seeing him kill the gods and sort of like the little subtext that happens within the stories. But the fact that they are doing a full-blown remake and they are bringing back TC Carson to voice Kratos once again is very, very cool. It is early within development, and you know, it sucks that we don't know when this is going to come out. Probably not until like 2028, 2029. Who the fuck knows? But it's good to know that we know what Santa Monica is doing next for the God of War series. And also, it would have been weird to hear TC Carson narrate over God of War Sons of Sparta, which is the next game that they announced, without, you know, sort of piecing it together in terms of like, okay, he's back for this, but like, are they doing anything else kind of thing? So,
yeah, I do wish they kind of just had the original games playable on PlayStation right now. Like you can play 3 remastered on PS4 and 5, but 1 and 2 are still I think I like stream them or something on PlayStation. Like I do some wacky shit. And, you know, it would have been cool to just have the option to have like a remaster version now and then play the remakes, because it is something I do want to do. Like I do want to play them like unaltered, like just normal ass God of War, because it is something I've missed out on. You know, I've always been surrounded by God of War because my brother loved that series when we were growing up, and I've always watched him play it. But I think the reason why I never played it is because I was really bad at quick time events as a kid. So every time I tried to play, I got so frustrated because I couldn't button mash and I couldn't do the QTEs, and I was just like, I hate this, fuck this. Nowadays, you know, that's not really an issue. Like I remember, like there's like a little tangent in Sonic Unleashed, like the final bit when with Chip and shit, I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't press X like 60 times. I think you had to help me do that.
Yes,
I couldn't fucking do
I had
it.
to come over and do that shit.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, it would be cool to just play the games on altered. Mostly because we don't really know what this remake is going to entail. There's been some rumors going around like, oh, it's gonna have different combat, but we don't know what that means. Is it going to be like the over the shoulder combat? Is it going to keep its hack and slash gameplay? We don't know yet. We don't know anything about this yet besides they're remaking it, right?
Yes.
I'm kind of hoping it still sticks true to its like normal hack and slash gameplay, because that's what makes the Greek games. It'd be kind of weird to just conform them into the over the shoulder stuff. But I guess we'll see once we actually know more about it. But still really cool to see. You know, God of War is such a big series for Sony. Like, it probably is their poster child at this point. So it's cool that we're finally getting like big announcements for its like 20-year anniversary, even though it's like almost over, I think. So that's probably why they announced this so early, because it's just like, yeah, we're doing it. All right, so leave us alone.
Yeah.
And I guess like the last bit of news here. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely going to be weird to see what they do with this remake in terms of like the gameplay, right? Because like I said, you know, I love love the hack and slash stuff, but it is, a bit brain dead for like 2026 standard. Everything has to be like a Souls like kind of combat where like you gotta parry, you gotta dodge, you gotta do all of this other crazy stuff. But like back then it was just like, all right, you just fucking murder these people. Obviously if you play on like higher difficulty, you gotta like dodge, you gotta, be a little bit more mindful. But at the end of the day, it was just about killing people and just like doing that, not much else.
That's cool though. It's not just that I forgot to talk about Romeo as a Dead Man. That game is very reminiscent to like that 360 ass hack and slash stuff, and I miss that, man. Like it's just fun to beat the shit out of people. Like, yeah, you could dodge roll and stuff, but it's not like you don't have to parry, you don't have to do all these Dark Souls mechanics. Like you kind of just beat the shit out of people. And sometimes I miss that, like those games are very dime a dozen back in the 360 days, but nowadays it's so rare. Like nowadays it's like everything has to be like a Souls like or whatever, and I'm like, I just want to hit people. Sometimes, so it would be kind of a shame if they kind of got rid of the old God of War combat, but I do want to make some time to actually play through the original games at some point. I don't know how I would do that. Maybe an emulator or something. We'll see. I do want to play through 1 and 2. But yeah, I guess we'll see when we know more details about the remake, maybe next year. But yeah, still cool that they're doing it. And, it looks like Santa Monica is like full in on God of War. Like I thought it would like maybe move on to like another series for a little bit and then come back, but it looks like they're very committed to God of War at the moment. So they know what makes the money.
Yeah.
So like the last thing, this has been rumored forever. God of War's Sons of Sparta. So it got shadow dropped during the State of Play, and this is a 2D Metroidvania pixel art God of War game that's telling the story of Kratos before like everything happens. His brother was from the PSP game, wasn't he? Doesn't his brother show up in a?
I don't fucking remember because, like I said, I don't really give a shit about the stories that much. He might have been.
His brother showed up in one of the PSP games. I think. I thought that was the plot of one of them.
I don't know. They could be retconning it, but I mean, look, I think the game looked really, really cool when I saw it. I definitely would have played it for this episode, but I just couldn't get around to it. I mean, the fact that they shadow dropped it is really, really neat. $30, that's like the PlayStation Premium sort of like indie game price point is how I view it. There was a little bit of a controversy with it because it was like it's advertising it's 2 players or whatever, but you don't unlock it until you beat the game. Yes, which was something that people were like, but I bought it for the multiplayer, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Can't you just like play a game just to like play the game single player? But like I get it though, because when you do look at it on the PlayStation Store page, it doesn't say anything about like the 2-player unlocks after you beat the game. It's just like 2 players. Like it doesn't really give you like a concrete like there's like a single player mode and a 2-player mode. I do wish that it was available at the start. I do understand why they have it so it's available after the game. So maybe they're like, oh yeah, you play by yourself and then maybe afterwards you could share it with that person. But why not just play it once with both of you guys together? I don't know. It just seems weird for them to have it as a unlock, but like I said, Sons of Sparta, it looks cool. I haven't played it yet. I think it's around like 10 to 12 hours. So it is like a pretty beefy game as well. So
yeah, I heard it's pretty long. Like if you want to do everything, it's like 20-ish hours. Like it's a pretty beefy game. I've heard mixed things about it. Like I think everyone agrees it's good, but it could be better. Like it doesn't help that we had so many good indie Metroidvanias over the last few years. I mean, fucking Silksong came out last year, right? And in terms of art, like I like the pixel art, but it does look a bit awkward sometimes. Like when enemies move, like just from the reviews I've seen, it could look a little janky. And the Metroidvania elements I heard are very basic compared to like a lot of the indie games we see nowadays, right? So it seems like it could be more than it is, but for what it is, it's pretty all right. So I'm excited to play it. It looks like it'll be a good time. Also, it was like kind of buggy, unfortunately. So hopefully by the time we play it, like the bugs have been ironed out. But this is something I want Sony to do, like we were just talking about. It'd be cool if Sony like revived some of these games. Obviously, God of War doesn't need a fucking revival because it's still very popular. But it'd be cool to see them do other projects by giving them to indie devs and just seeing what they could do. Like if we got like a 2D fucking Sly Cooper game, why not? Right? Like just let it go crazy. Sure. Right?
Give me it. I don't care.
Why not? Right? Like just anything like that. I think it would be cool if we got some smaller projects from some of the other IPs, like maybe like an Ape Escape thing, like you were talking about. Like it would be really cool to see that happen. But I think Sons of Sparta is a cool precedent. Also, it's cool that it's not a fucking over the shoulder type game, and it's like an actual different genre, and it's in PlayStation because we have so many over-the-shoulder sad dad games out there, and I love those games. But it's nice to see some PlayStation players actually play some different genres that isn't the same thing we've been seeing the last like 10 years. So
yeah, and that might be why that the game is relatively easy for the Metroidvania genre, because it's like these are probably going to be a lot of people's first ever Metroidvania game, so they don't want to make it so complicated where it's like, oh my god, I got to grab this thing and then I got to go all the way over there. They're like unlock it. It's like, well, that's just how the fucking genre is, you know. So. But yeah, overall, pretty good state of play. Very excited to see a lot of these games come out later this year.
Yeah, very good. And again, like I said, I'm just happy they're all coming out this year. That's really cool.
Yes, that is very, very cool. Pretty much everything that they announced, other than the Remake trilogy, is scheduled to release this year. All right, so a little bit of a big bomb out of nowhere. I don't know why the fuck this was such like a big deal, but obviously Nintendo fans, Pokemon fans, they will make it a big deal as always. So randomly, it was like fucking 2 a.m. I think it was the 20th or whatever. Randomly, people were like, yo, Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen is for pre-order on the eShop for $20. People were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then obviously people went to go check, and it's like, it's real. It's fucking sitting there. What the hell is going on? And I guess there might have been some coding. Something got leaked, released early. They were probably going to shadow drop it during the Pokemon Presents presentation, but obviously it got leaked. So they were like, all right, we'll just make a formal announcement. I guess Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen is coming to the Nintendo Switch eShop for $20 each. It will be available on Friday, February 27th at 9 a.m. ET or 6 a.m. PST. So yeah, this is not part of the Nintendo Switch Online program. You do have to buy these individually. If you want one or the other or both, you're going to be spending $40. And yeah, there's a lot of different angles that people are taking this from. People are like, why is this not part of the NSO program? Why are they $20 each? What the fuck is going on? Yada, yada, yada. So I guess the first thing that I will address is the NSO program. So the reason why they're not doing it is because the Pokemon Company likes money, guys. This is not a fucking secret. This is not. It's not like it's not an open secret. Come on, like stop being dumb. Don't be fucking stupid. You know, when I remember when they started doing the NSO program, and people were like, what happened to the virtual console? I want to fucking buy my games and own them. But like now that we're like, you know, a few years into the NSO program, I could see why they fucking did it. Because it's like it's a better package for us, but also it's like it's digital games, so like you never really own the products. So I think having it on a streaming service like NSO is fine at the end of the day. Do I miss the virtual console? Sure. I do wish that I could just buy the game and not have to spend, you know, $10 or $25 a month every single month to have these games within my library. Sure. But I think it is nice for them to just have it be readily available and also continuously add games onto the consoles respectively. So Pokemon's not on there because they know that they could get that $20 out of you very easily. And it's like the fucking top 3 games on the eShop pre-order. So obviously it's fucking working.
Yeah, I mean, I've always talked to my brother about this, you know, if they were ever going to put a mainline Pokemon game, it was going to be not on NSO. It would be like you would have to buy it separately because they know people would buy it, including me. So like, you know, they have all their spinoffs on NSO. So they're clearly doing this because they know they could get money out of people because it's a mainline Pokemon game. Like you could play Mystery Dungeon, you could play Pokemon Stadium and Snap on NSO. They don't give a shit about that. They know you would buy FireRed LeafGreen. So that's the reason why they're non-NSO. I do agree. Like, I wish you could just buy games from NSO. Like, I'm subscribed to it. I think NSO is like really worth it now because like there's just so many good games you could play. Obviously, it's always like, you know, are you going to play those games all the time? Probably not. But it's also like a lot cheaper compared to like PSN and stuff. I think it's like with the expansion pass, I think it's only like $40 like a year or something. Like, it's like really like a it doesn't fucking matter. That's a very small amount of money for the amount of stuff you get, which is like pretty good now. But yeah, when it comes to having a mainline Pokemon game, I always knew it was going to be on like a separate purchase or like a collection or something. Like there was no way Game Freak was just going to let you just play that shit for free. There's no way. And it did. And you know, $20 for each of them is pretty fucking crazy. Like it's not like it's expensive or anything. It's just that like why? It should be like $10. And if you're going to make me spend $20, it should be FireRed and LeafGreen together. I'm just happy it's there. This is something I've been wanting forever. I've always wanted like the Pokemon games just on like the mainline ones on consoles. It'd be all the GBA games, the Game Boy games, the fucking Game Boy Color games. Just put them all on there. Like, who gives a shit? But they did do a FAQ on this game specifically, and they're like, oh, we have no plans to do the rest of them. I'm like, fucking why? Just put them on there. They're like, I want to play Emerald on my fucking Switch, bro. So yeah, but either way, it's still cool to have it there. There's still a lot of like not great things about it. I heard people say it's just the ROM. Like, you can't like rewind, you can't do any of that, probably because they don't want people to cheat or whatever. Pokemon Home Support was supposed to Pokemon Home Support was advertised on it when it first launched the store page, but they took that line out and they haven't mentioned it since. So now I don't think it's gonna have Pokemon Home Support, which is really stupid. It won't have online. It will have like local wireless, which is nice, but yeah, no online trading or battling. And we don't know anything about if they're going to bring back any events. So, like, I don't know if you could do, like, Deoxys, or I forget what else events were in FireRed LeafGreen. I think, like, Latios, Mew. I think you can't, I don't know if you could get Mew or whatever. So, that's dumb. Like, I do hope they add something where you could get all the mystery gifts to do those events. Because as a kid, I never did that because I'm not going to fucking Toys R Us when I was, like, 5. You know? So, like, oh, let me get Deoxys. I didn't fucking know that existed. So, yeah, it'd be cool if those things came back. There's a lot they could have done with this, but I'm just happy a mainline Pokemon game from the GBA is available on console, even if it is overpriced. Like, I do think those are, in my opinion, I know it's nostalgia based, but I do think it is the best version of Kanto to play through. Like, if you ever had to play through Gen 1, I think FireRed LeafGreen are the best ways to play it. So, it's cool it's there. I am going to buy it because this is what I wanted. I wish it was a bit cheaper, but like that's literally what I've been asking for. So yeah, I probably am going to get it. And on Twitter, people have been doing the whole thing was like, you fucking suck if you buy that. You know, and we talked about this so many times. We talked about so many times where like people are really weird about what you spend your money on. And I'm just like, man, people are going to buy it anyway. Like, it's the biggest IP in the world. Like, it doesn't fucking matter at this point. I'm fucking buying it, whatever. I don't give a shit. So...
It's like that Scott the Woz clip that was floating around with like Mario Kart World, where it was like, yeah, you know, it's $70, but like, why the fuck are you worried about like what I'm spending my money on? Why are you pocket watching me? It's like, you know, as someone who is very much removed from the Pokemon sphere, I honestly think $20 is like a fine price. You know, 15 would have been better. Obviously, I think cheaper is always better, especially when it comes to Pokemon. But you know, thinking it as a business perspective, you know, the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, Game Freak, they all fucking know that you are going to spend $20 on these games because you know the quality of these games is up there. Like, you know that these games are good, that you are going to get hundreds of hours into them. You're going to relive your childhood or play these games for the first time ever. And like, yeah, it's fucking much cheaper than trying to get the original Game Boy Advance cartridge, whether it is loose or complete in box. Like, these games are fucking expensive. Even though they sold millions back in the day, people are reselling these on the retro market for hundreds of dollars. And yeah, it is a little ridiculous, but I think $20 when you compare it to everything else, it's like, yeah, I think that's fine. And then people are out there, but like, you could just emulate it for free. All right, yeah, so go fucking emulate it for free, you bozo. Yeah, you go do that. I think the reason why, you know, I think $20 is fine is because you are avoiding all of that like emulation stuff. Like, I don't want to fucking play Pokemon on my phone. Why the fuck would I want to do that? I want to play it on my Switch console. And it's like, well, I got to pay $20. I got to pay $20. It's also for that convenience. I'm not going out of my way, like I just said, to emulate it and try to figure out how I'm doing that on my phone. It's probably pretty easy. I could probably just look up a YouTube video and do it. But like, I can just pay $20 and just like forget about it. Yeah, sure, I'm going to do that. Will I buy these at launch? I don't know. I have FireRed. Shout out to Damian. He gave me like a extra copy of his back in the day, all those years ago. So I might just buy I might just buy LeafGreen. We'll see. But yeah, I think $20 is fine. Cheaper is better. But I think if you really want to play these games, this is going to be the most accessible way to do it and the cheapest way. Obviously, the cheapest way is to emulate it. But like, if you don't want to figure out the emulation, like I just said, just pay $20 and like, boom, you got it on your Switch. You could play it wherever, play it on your TV, play it on your couch in portable mode. Boom, bam, done. No worries.
Yeah, basically. Like, yeah, I've emulated FireRed like a million times. Like, you know, I have it on my computer. I have it on my phone too. But it's just like, you know, playing it, the novelty of playing it on official like hardware is always going to be like nice to me. And it just makes me want to beat it more. Like whenever I do emulate stuff, I like barely beat stuff. Like I just, I feel like that motivation go away. I just like having it there just to have it there just in case. Like I have all the Pokemon games on my computer because like just in case. You never know if my emulation site's going to go down one day. And, you know, I like to do ROM hacks or I like to do randomizers. Those are really fun to do. But playing it officially, like I usually would like to play it on official hardware a lot of time. Also because I know like those Pokemon could be transferred somewhere. That's why I'm hoping Pokemon Home Support does come in for this game, but we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's more the novelty of playing it on official Nintendo hardware that I like. And that's why I probably will end up buying this. But yes, you could easily emulate these games. I think these are the most emulated games of all time to begin with. So yeah, if you're emulating it, that's fine. I just don't think like you should give people a hard time if they do want to buy it because it's like people are gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I like Pokemon. I like Gen 3. Like, you know, like that. This is my childhood. Like this is like my Pokemon I grew up with, Emerald and FireRed LeafGreen. So yeah, I'm gonna fucking buy it. But yeah, just don't pocket watch people. Just be normal about it. Like they're gonna make $1 million anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. So whatever, man.
You're part of the problem. Still, yada yada yada.
It's still probably too pricey, I will say. But also, it's whatever. Like I do think it probably should be like $10, but you know, it's whatever. It's fine. We'll live. We have other things to be worried about.
You can complain about the price all you want, but yeah, you're still gonna buy it. You're still gonna buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Anyway, so that was Nintendo's controversy of the week. Now we have like everyone fucking else. So PlayStation closed Bluepoint Games. So these are the people that made the Demon's Souls remake for PS5. They also made the Shadow of the Colossus remake. They did a lot of collections like the God of War one, the Nathan Drake collection, I believe they did. They did a lot of remasters and remakes, right? Sorry, I had to burp.
No, you're good.
So Bluepoint, that's what they've been best known for. And, you know, for rumors, and now we know officially that they were making a live service God of War game, and that seems to have fell under by Sony, since I'm sure Sony saw the writing on the walls for a lot of their live service games that they've just been like fucking failing horribly. And it looks like for Bluepoint, it looks like they canceled that project, and a lot of the internal sort of like testimonies or whatever has been coming out, and it seems like they wanted to pitch a new game, but Sony just wasn't having it. Like they kept rejecting every pitch they were doing, and then they just fucking closed them down. And that's very unfortunate. You know, Bluepoint didn't have a chance to do a new IP yet. Like they wanted to, but they never got a chance to. And it sucks because all their remaster and remake projects have been like pretty like well beloved. Like, yeah, you could say some issues with the Shadow of Colossus and Demon's Souls remakes, like, oh, they lost some of their soul or they lost some of the grittiness the original versions had. But for the most part, like, they are pretty good remakes for what they are. Mostly because like those games aren't really playable in modern platforms. Like Demon's Souls, I believe you could really only play on PS3 unless you buy the remake. Same with Shadow of Colossus. So, you know, I think they have really good value of being there. I mean, I heard nothing but good things about the Nathan Drake collection as well. Like, I heard those are great ways to play the original Uncharted games as well.
Yes.
So it sucks that they never had a chance to really prove themselves with a new IP, but they've done some really solid work. Even as a support studio, apparently they helped a lot with some other games as well in the first party studios. And, you know, I think Sony could have closed down some other studios that weren't really doing well. Like, I mean, it pains me to say, but, you know, people like Meteor Molecule haven't really done anything. Like, Dreams was such a cool game, but they, you know, that game really did fucking crash and burn. And I'm surprised they aren't closed yet to begin with. Obviously, I don't want any of these studios to fucking close, but I'm surprised like they closed Bluepoint because it seems like they were doing really well for a while. And they had like one failed project that didn't even came out, and Sony was just like, you're done. Even things like Fair Games, you know, they're making this like Doom live service game for I don't know how many years, and they're just like, they could keep going, but let's kill Bluepoint. Like, why? Like, it really makes no sense. This closure is probably one of the most confusing closures I've seen, besides like Tango Gameworks when Microsoft did that. I'm like, what? Like, just randomly fucking killed the studio for like no reason. Like, why?
Yeah, I mean, Sony and PlayStation, they've been shutting down and closing down studios for the past couple of years. It feels like a yearly thing at this point, where they just let go and fire people because their game just doesn't do well. And I feel like Bluepoint Games, they just got self-sabotaged by Sony, because it's like, we're making this God of War live service game that you wanted, and now it's like, well, the live service stuff, we're a bunch of fucking idiots. Why are we making 10 live service games at once? All right, now they're all canceled. Okay, so now pitch something else to us, and it's like, we don't want that. All right, you're done. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? yeah, a lot of their stuff previously, remakes, remasters, they have all been really solid. The God of War collection, the first one that they worked on, that's how I played God of War back in the day. And that was a very smooth and solid experience. Shadow of the Colossus, they did the Shadow of the Colossus and Eco collection. That's how I also played Shadow of the Colossus, even though I wasn't that great at it. That's how I fucking played that game. The Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, another great sort of remastered collection for the PlayStation 4, a much more accessible way for people to play it. You can even play it on your PlayStation 5. Great collection, honestly. So the fact that, I don't even think Demon's Souls was that bad either. That was like a PS5 launch game, and that was like one of the only other games to save the PlayStation 5 at launch.
It was beautiful too. Yeah.
Yeah. That game is exclusive to PlayStation 5, unlike the other games like God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man Miles Morales, etc. It's like, they were doing their best. They were trying to work under their boss, and then their boss just said, fuck you, you're gone. It just seems so weird for them to close this studio down and not really even give them a chance to make something new and just reject everything that they were trying to get off the ground. Maybe it was other IPs and things that they haven't worked on yet and be like, we want to make a new game for this IP that you haven't done yet. And they're like, nope, you're not touching that. It's like, why? Why not give them the reins? They've worked on so many games that are in so many different genres, by the way, like Demon's Souls, Uncharted, Shadow of the Colossus. It's like, they know their way around video games. And like, I think a lot of the team has a lot of experience within the industry. So the fact that they were never able to, sort of leave the nest, if you will, and really get a chance to make something of their own sucks. So, we'll see where PlayStation goes from here. I think this entire generation for them has been a fucking disaster. Like ever since from the start, from launching during COVID to now, we're like, 6 years in, nearing 6 years in, and it's like, what do we really have to show for it? A bunch of mediocre AAA games in comparison to what they did previously with the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Not to say that I didn't like a lot of the games, right? But I think there hasn't been like a super standout title for the PlayStation 5 yet. Like I said, I like Ghost Tsushima, I like Spider-Man, I like God of War, a lot of their games that have come out, but those are on like a yearly basis, and they've never really had a year where like two of them drop at once because of the live service push and how long the games take to make in general. So yeah, it seems like that hopefully whenever the PlayStation 6 comes out, because that's like a whole other topic that we didn't really touch on with like the whole RAM shortage and memory thing that's going on with AI and crypto and whatever the fuck. It's like, when will we see the next console generation? I don't fucking know. It's like so far in the future now. But yeah, this is just another sort of painstakingly sort of negative on PlayStation's reputation for this generation.
Yeah. And, it sucks because I actually really like my PS5 as a console. Like, I actually use it a lot, compared to, like, my PS4. But in terms of, like, first-party support, it's been super lacking, like... I think we had some really good games, like, like obviously Ratchet and Clank, I love a lot because I'm a Ratchet and Clank fan. But also things like, I think Returnal, again, is one of like the best games on the system because of how unique it is and how good it looks. It used the haptics really well. Like, it's just a very good game. Same thing with Astrobot. Like, Astrobot, I think, uses the PS5 to its full effect and is just one of the best 3D platformers I've played, right? But then you have other sequels, like, Ragnarok I really liked, but I think the ending a little fumbled a bit. And, I don't think Horizon 2 was as good as the first game. I don't think Ghost of Tsushima was as good as Tsushima. They're still good games, but, like, I feel like I ended up liking their PS4 games more than the sequels. And obviously Spider-Man 2 is a whole controversy thing, too. But, yeah, I just feel like the PS5 has been such a weird generation where I really like the console itself, and I've been playing a lot of third-party games on it, but I think, like, the first-party support has been a bit lacking. So, yeah.
Okay, so last bit of news, we got to talk about Xbox because they have had a massive shakeup within their leadership. So Phil Spencer has announced his retirement. Sarah Bond also exits, and we are introduced to Asha Sharma. So she will be the new CEO of Xbox Gaming, Microsoft Gaming, whatever the fuck they're calling it these days. So she was the former president of Core AI for Microsoft, but she reiterates that they will not use AI at Xbox. Her quote is, "As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us." She's also been active on Twitter/X, replying to certain tweets just to show that, like, she's hearing, she's trying to, be be what's the word, engaged with the audience and sort of learn about the Xbox ecosystem, because, you know, people have found out her Xbox account and they're sort of like dogging on her and being like, you know, she doesn't have that high of a gamer score and like she only started playing games like less than a year ago, yada yada yada. But before we get too deep into her and sort of what I expect from this new era of Xbox that we're heading into, I mean, we got to give props to Phil Spencer. This guy's been at the company for decades. And even though Xbox have been taking a lot of L's over the past decade or so, you know, with the whole Activision Blizzard deal, and even before them with the Bethesda deal, you know, they've been trying to really revitalize the Xbox brand. And I think a lot of their pushes and their efforts have just not worked, unfortunately. And, you know, whether it is him trying to just be consumer friendly, because I think that was like a big thing that he was trying to do, was to just make sure that games come out on Xbox and PC at the same time. And when they do that, Xbox sales and Xbox console sales are going to plummet. There's no more Xbox console exclusives. And we've seen that recently with games going to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, etc. So, you know, it's like the Xbox brand is kind of just like diminishing in value as we move forward, even though the players and us as the consumer are winning with the games going on to literally everything else. You know, Severbon also exiting. It just seems like that Microsoft really wants to get someone new at the studio that really can shake things up and really hopefully revitalize the Xbox brand, because Xbox is still a very strong, you know, sort of company, whether people want to admit it or not. You know, I will understand, because ever since the Xbox One, they have been losing. And it is so crazy because the Xbox 360 was such a strong competitor against the PlayStation 3, but it lost steam the further the generation moved along. So I wonder what's going to happen moving forward.
Yeah, you know, it makes sense Sarah Bond would leave, because I think Microsoft really wanted a big shakeup, because, you know, Phil Spencer was basically like making her the next in line to like his like throne, I guess. Like, you know, like he wanted her to take over, and it seems like he was really like training her to like, hey, this is how I want, well, not how I want the company to be, but this is like what I value in Xbox and gaming, right? So it seems like Microsoft just kind of cut both of them, because it's like we're not going to put you, because you'll be like Phil Spencer too. And they really wanted a big shakeup this time, since, you know, Microsoft has been eating shit like this whole generation, even the Xbox One generation. Like Microsoft has not had a win for so long. And like you said, it's crazy how dominant they were during the 360 days. Like when we were kids, like, you know, the 360 was the thing to have. Like, it's funny because I didn't get 360 till like way later, like almost towards the end of its life. Because, you know, I was always like a Sony stan, so I was like with the PS3 for a while. So yeah, it's been a while since I got like the, you know, but yeah, the 360 was just so crazy, and to see it crash and burn so hard as a brand over the last like decade has been like just crazy work. And, you know, with this new CEO, we'll see how she does. You know, talk is cheap. You know, you could say all these things, but if you don't actually do it, it won't matter. Like, it's very easy to get people on your side by saying, no, AI slop, no, this. But, you know, you're going to have a lot to prove, no matter who's saying it. Like, I don't care who's saying it. Like, you have to, like, show us that you actually do mean business here. So, obviously, I'm not expecting that, like, this year. Like, it's going to take a while for all these effects to take into place. But I am hoping that this shakeup does lead to Microsoft not fully abandoning the Xbox, because that was kind of what I was scared of. Like, we kind of need a competitor. Like, Sony has been, we were just talking about this with Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, and, you know, it's good to have competition. And while competition, Sony has been very lazy. Like, if this was any other generation, Sony would be losing super hard, and they would have like tried their best to really like get themselves back on their feet. But since Microsoft has been killing themselves over and over again, Sony just doesn't really feel the need to improve. So it's just like, we could just keep doing what we're doing. Like, who gives a shit, right? You know, Nintendo never gives a shit. Like, Nintendo's just always doing their own thing. But with Sony versus Microsoft, like, you know, you kind of need that other big console to really keep Sony in check, or Microsoft in check, right? So yeah, I'm really hoping Microsoft doesn't just fully fucking implode on itself, and I hope this leads to okay things. Again, her being the head of like core AI and some other stuff, I'm just like, that's not really like reassuring that things are going to get better, but we'll see. I'm willing to give her a chance and see what she ends up doing for Xbox as a brand, but it's not great. Just from like the reading the things, I'm like, like a scary job title used to hold. So we'll see how it ends up being. And again, like I said, talk is cheap. It's really easy to get gamers on your side by saying like, no AI slapping, no this, that, or the other. I'm a gamer. You know, Phil Spencer kind of did the same thing too. And, you know, he did a lot of good for the company, but also a lot of bad. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's obviously very new to this role and in this sort of industry. So I wonder how she's going to handle it and sort of take it, you know. I'm very optimistic about this just because, you know, Xbox have been fucking eating shit for a very, very long time. And I want to see them win because, like you said, competition is good. And PlayStation and Sony, they have been so complacent over the past 2 generations now. And it is very noticeable with the PS5 generation. Like they're just losing thousands and thousands of dollars over those live service endeavors. And, you know, they are slowly building themselves back up, but they don't have, you know, the competition to really force them to speed it up, to really be like, hey, like we need like new games like out like, you know, multiple times a year, not just every year. Cause I think there's a new PlayStation Studios game every single year, one big one that really has people, you know, on the ball about. And I think this year it is Marvel's Wolverine. Last year it was Ghost of Yode and et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, going inside of the sort of Microsoft shakeup, you know, The Verge, they found out a little bit of, you know, some sort of investigative journalism, if you will. So Sarah Bond's exit was not the prettiest in terms of, you know, exits because she was responsible for the This is an Xbox campaign, which was not well received by audiences and was not well received internally. I mean, just my opinion on that campaign, I could see what she's trying to do, you know, just be like, hey, you know, like my phone can be an Xbox, my TV can be an Xbox, you know, you could play your Xbox games anywhere. So you don't necessarily need an Xbox console, but for the Xbox brand to, you know, stay alive, you kind of need the console there kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think that with Phil Spencer and sort of the Xbox brand as a whole trying to shift away from exclusivity and from, you know, the sort of Xbox console in general, they've been losing the Xbox brand in general because of that. You know, we don't have people that are buying Xboxes because of these games. Oh, you know, I could just play it on my computer or I could stream it or cloud service it or whatever the hell service that they have going on these days, right? You know, there's no reason for people to heavily invest into the Xbox brand anymore when they could just get it on PC, you know, pay that one price and then call it a day. You know, like I think that Sarah Bond is definitely being shunned as like the scapegoat here, but I could also see that like she was not the leader that Microsoft really needed if they wanted the Xbox brand to live on past Phil Spencer, right? Because I think if Phil Spencer retired and then they announced Bond as the next CEO, like you said, Damian, it would have just been more of the same, if not worse, just because it was not so well received with that This is an Xbox campaign.
Yeah, like I was saying, like yeah, I'm sure Microsoft wanted like a way bigger shakeup than she was willing to bring in, since again a lot of her ideas seem to be basically like how Phil Spencer would like operate, and they just didn't want to deal with that for another like how many years. So they're like, whatever, you're gone. And it sucks because like I do think she is taking a lot of the blame because I do think Phil Spencer probably had some influence on this too. So I'm sure it wasn't like all her fault that these decisions were made. And this is an Xbox campaign, like I get it. But it did feel like they were giving up at that point. It's just like, okay, like they want to just move on to Game Pass. They want to just make Game Pass available everywhere. And that is Xbox now, right? And that's something I feel like wasn't like it made sense at the time, but it did feel like, yeah, that's probably not the direction you want to go if you want people to have confidence in your machine, right? So I'm hoping whenever the next Xbox generation comes in, they do come in swinging, but we'll see. I mean, they got some big heavy hitters coming out, but again, a lot of these things are coming out on PS5 as well. Like Forza Horizon is coming on PS5. I believe Fable is also going on PS5 as well. So it's like what are we doing, right? Like the point of having an Xbox is almost like there's no point. Like you might as well just have a PC at that point. At least PlayStation, you still have like some exclusives on there, but Microsoft, like their ecosystem is almost like non-existent at this point. Like my brother has always been like he always uses his Xbox for his third-party stuff, but he's been moving to PlayStation to put all that stuff on there now because you don't know if that ecosystem is just going to implode on itself any moment. You know, it's been such a mess. So yeah, I really don't know what to think about this shakeup yet. We're gonna have to wait and see. Probably not until like the next Xbox comes out because I believe they are making one more console, and then we'll see how they go. But I'm sure we're not gonna see the full effects on this until the next generation comes in. So I'll give it some time because like Microsoft is clearly lost this generation. Like, there's no coming back. Like they're just like dead in the water at the moment. So hopefully they take this time the next few years to really pinpoint where they have to work on, focus on making Xbox a better brand, and just like go on from there. So I guess we'll see. Because again, Sony really needs some competition, man.
My prediction for this next generation of Xbox, under her leadership, my hope is that they actually bring back like console exclusives, because I think that that's like a big thing. Like, even though like I appreciate Phil Spencer, and I love that he was very friendly with PC and very pro consumer, but this is a business at the end of the day. Money needs to be made, especially if you're making these big swinging moves by buying Activision Blizzard, buying Bethesda. You need to make that money back. So I think console exclusives definitely have to return. And then maybe like 6 months to a year from now, a year ideally, a year later, you could release it on PC, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, whatever. Because, you need to get people a reason to buy an Xbox. Even if it is just for that one game, you get them to buy that console. You get to have them in your ecosystem to be familiar with it. And, even if they don't buy games for it regularly and just buy the exclusives, maybe there's a sale on a game that is like a third party that they've been wanting to play for a while, but it's cheapest on Xbox. I'll play it on there. Or maybe it's on Game Pass. Now it's on Game Pass. I'll play it on my Xbox console instead of trying to figure it out on my PC or whatever. Like, I think you just need to get people to buy Xboxes again, because that's like the biggest thing. Because I have not bought an Xbox console since the 360, because there's never been a reason to. Even though the Xbox One did have some exclusives at launch, like Dead Rising 4, Rome, and like several other games, but those were like mid to like mediocre, and nothing really pulled me into the console other than like, I guess, Sunset Overdrive. But even then, it's like, I think that game's on PC now, so like, there's no reason to even have a Xbox One for me still.
The story behind Sunset Overdrive is always funny, because they made like $2 out of that game. Like a Sony X, like after all was said and done, they actually made like $3 in profit or something. It was like crazy how that game just did not sell well.
Yeah, and like, imagine if that game was on other platforms. Yeah, sure, they would have had more money, but Xbox was really trying to get that profit in somehow. But I hope that next generation we get some sort of exclusivity, and we see them to be like aggressive and like fighting back, because like I said, I appreciate Phil Spencer being very nice to us as the consumer, but that's just gonna hurt their profits.
Yeah, I mean, returning back to like full on console exclusives, that seems like the best play, like to like get people to buy consoles. But I'm sure there's some analytics being like the software sales are just better. Like, it just ends up being better if they just put it everywhere else instead. But I do agree, like, if the PS5 did have everything locked to PS5, like, people would be mad, but we'll also probably get more people to buy PS5. So,
Yes.
it's kind of a tricky situation and what they value now. Like, do they value the hardware more or the software more? I'm not too sure. And for Sony, I think it's a bit of both, but for Microsoft, it's definitely like the value just like getting the game out there and people buying it, because no one's buying Xboxes to begin with. But it's also, like I said, a self-fulfilling prophecy, where it's like, if you stop making these things exclusive, obviously no one's going to buy your hardware, because why would they, right? So yeah,
Yes.
we'll see what they do probably in the next generation. It's going to be a very interesting next generation. I think we're going to see a lot of shakeups be happening in gaming when that happens. So
Yeah, Xbox are definitely in a conundrum, because they've trained the people that are Xbox fans or people that like Xbox games. Like, yeah, we're gonna have everything everywhere. Like Halo is coming to PlayStation 5. That's a thing, and it's like, okay, well, do I really need to own a Xbox? And like you said, we'll see what they do with the next console generation, because like you said, right now it's like there's no reason to try to win this generation, because even though Sony's like not really doing jack shit, I doubt that they're gonna have super big swinging plans for the PlayStation 6 generation. So I hope that Microsoft and Xbox are able to come out swinging and actually show that they are willing to compete within the industry.
Yep.
Okay, so that is it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 183. We'll see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See ya.